Giants have turned this one into a real lapper. They now lead it 12-4.
Rodriguez throws to Bonds, and Bonds hits a long one. This one is way back. It's hit a mile. Out of here. And it's 4-0 Giants.
The 3-2 pitch is belted to right field. Back on it goes Sanders. At the wall. He can't get it. Home run. And they're back in the ball game. Men delivers, and it's belted. Left field. In the gap. It's in there for a double. Here comes Biggins. Here comes Anderson. The Angels take the lead. 6-5. A line drive down the right field line. That's hit it into the corner. Sanders is over to play it. Eckstein's in. Erstad's in. Here comes Sherman. He scores. Garrett Anderson clears the bases with a double into the corner and right. And the Angels lead 4-1. Here's a pitch to Lawson. Fly ball center field. Erstad says he's got it. Erstad makes the catch. The Anaheim Angels are the champions of baseball. The celebration on the field begins.
The #1 source for everything baseball. This is MLB Radio.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to MLB Radio's coverage of the 2002 Arizona Fall League as we have a flyover up above, a couple of them actually. We'll have 3 of them coming by as we are at Sancet Field on the campus of the University of Arizona in Tucson. And what a beautiful day for baseball it is. Beautiful sunny skies, temperature about 75 degrees, slight wind coming in from left center field, and we got a pretty good matchup coming up this afternoon. Victor Rojas alongside my partner Ed Lynch will be bringing you the coverage for the next 3 days. And why Tucson, you ask? Typically, the Arizona Fall League plays its games in the Phoenix metropolitan area, but because Major League Baseball general managers meetings got underway this morning here in Tucson over at the Westin La Paloma Resort, we're down here. The Arizona Fall League, in conjunction with the Tucson Sidewinders, are putting on the showcase for the next 3 days here at the University of Arizona. Today we'll have the Scottsdale Scorpions going up against the Maryvale Saguaros. As we get ready for our national anthem, we'll take a moment to honor America on Veterans Day.
The ultimate price to preserve our nation's freedom. Thank you. We ask you to please remain standing for the presentation of colors by the David Moffett Air Force Base Color Guard and the singing of the National Anthem by Tucson's internationally renowned male chorus, the Sons of Orpheus, under the direction of University of Arizona music professor, Dr. Grayson Hurst.
Well, our national anthem sung by the Sons of Orpheus here in Tucson, Arizona. Still have the presentation of colors coming off the field now as we get ready for the first pitch in about 10 minutes or thereabouts. And I mentioned that former Met and Cubs pitcher Ed Lynch is with me in the booth. And Ed, you know a little bit, not only about what goes on the field, but what goes on in the front office. And it's a perfect opportunity for you to come up here. You're a scout now for the Chicago Cubs and see the talent that the Arizona Fall League can put out every single year.
Yeah, it's really an outstanding league talent-wise in terms of the best young American players. And I think the record shows that, there's a certain amount of players not only go on to the major leagues, but become major league stars. Derek Jeter, Nomar Garcia-Parra, Mike Piazza, Major League Baseball is littered with just superstar caliber players who really got their first taste of major league competition in the Arizona Fall League. So it's exciting for everybody.
Sure. Prior to the presentation of colors, I should say, I was mentioning that the Arizona Fall League pretty much plays its games all around the Phoenix metropolitan area. 6 teams in the Arizona Fall League, separated by the East and the West. You have Grand Canyon, Maryvale, Mesa, Scottsdale, Phoenix, and Peoria. And today you have a battle of a team that's a very good hitting ball club that's gotten very good pitching versus the Maryvale Ball Club that has struggled this year with their pitching and their offense.
Yeah, you said it right. Scottsdale has really swung the bats very well. But, as much as we like to think that this is a team game down here, let's face it, a lot of these players are individually out here to show what they can do, especially today. When you're out here as a young player and your general manager and your top front office people and your top scouts are sitting in the stands out there, this is a little extra incentive to go out and not only perform, but to play hard. So it should be an exciting day today.
Well, before we talk about what's going on the field as the umpires make their way here at Sancet Field, one of the things that started today was the general managers meeting. The Major League Baseball general managers meeting got underway this morning. A lot of things have been going on in the news, obviously, with all the managerial changes that have happened. Last night, the story AP reports that Billy Beane has come to terms with the Boston Red Sox. Later on, AP reports that Billy Beane is not going to the Red Sox. He's decided to stay in Oakland. So this is just the tip of the iceberg. It's typically a general manager's meeting, or is it? I mean, do a lot of rumors get started here?
Well, I think when you're talking about the changes at the GM level around baseball, I think that's pretty much all said and done, as are the managerial changes. But it was a very different kind of fall, Victor. I mean, we had I remember a couple of years ago, not one major league manager was fired. The first time since World War II that not one major league manager was fired from opening day to the end of the season. And now we've had 14 this year, which is basically half of the major league managers were fired. So it was kind of a wacky deal, especially after the season when you had Lou Piniella and you had Ken Maka and you had Art Howe, all represented by the same guy, and it was like musical chairs a little bit. And the first one that had the ball, obviously, was Lou Piniella. He went to Tampa Bay. When that happened, the Mets realized that they were out of that mix. They went and got Art Howe, and once he left there, then Ken Maka took over in Oakland. So it's really unprecedented, this type of thing happening in Major League Baseball. It's not unprecedented with players in terms of switching clubs and free agents, but now you're having like free agent bidding wars on people historically have been considered quote-unquote management. So it's certainly interesting.
Well, some of the general managers just now filtering in. It is the first game down in Tucson. We'll be here today, tomorrow, and Wednesday, and we'll see all 6 teams in the next 3 days. And then on Thursday, we'll be back up in the Phoenix area. At least I will be. Ed, you'll be back up there because you live up there. But maybe I'll see you at the ballpark, come up as well as do some play-by-play and some color for us. Do you like the matchup today? I mean, you got two right-handers. You got Bobby Jenks of the Anaheim Angels organization, a big kid. And when I say big all over, he's just a big, husky kid going up against Cheyenne Janke of the St. Louis Cardinals organization.
Well, they're two different players. I mean, Bobby Jenks has probably got some of the best pure stuff in minor league baseball. Here's a guy that tops out at 99 miles an hour. He's got a curveball that's just very, very difficult to hit, difficult to catch. Got an outstanding slider, a good changeup, and he's been blessed with 4 above-average pitches, which is a rarity in our game. Cheyenne Janke, I haven't seen him, but I understand he's more of a finesse guy, does it with command and control, throws the breaking ball and fastball situation. So, there's more than one way to skin a cat. I mean, Bobby Jenks is going to come right at you. You know what's coming. You still can't hit it sometimes if he's hitting his spot. And Cheyenne is a finesse guy, so it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out.
Take us into the mind of a general manager right now, not anyone in particular, but you as an example. When you were with the Cubs and you came down here to watch these games, are you watching your players solely, or are you looking at other organizations just to find out what they have it's setting the premise for a possible trade down the road or a Rule 5 situation?
Well, you've already got your information lined up on the other players. I mean, now you get a chance to see your own players, maybe that you've read about. Unfortunately, you don't always have a chance to go out and see all your affiliates as much as you'd like during the season. You know, you're really wrapped up in that major league club. But so I think today it's really primarily to reacquaint yourself with some of the other people in the industry in terms of saying hello and interacting that way, and to see your own players perform. And that's the importance of this league. You get to see the best young players in your organization together in the same spot.
Now, aside from what happens at the ballpark, these guys were coming over from the hotel where they had meetings. What goes on in those meetings? I mean, is it a structured conference type of meeting?
Well, you have a lot of things going on. You're going over the arbitration-eligible players. You're trying to get a handle on your costs for next year. You're going to go over a lot of the issues. You know, general managers submit issues during the season, things they'd like to see talked about, things as technical as raising and lowering the mound, or should we go back to a different format in the playoffs? Should we structure the uniform player contract to make it easier for us to do certain things? So there's all kinds. There's a whole broad spectrum of issues that are talked about this week.
Well, the Scottsdale Scorpions have just taken the field. They're getting ready to take on the Maryvale Saguaros. You know what a saguaro is, right? You live in the desert.
That's a cactus, baby.
Big cactus, that's right. Bobby Jenks is taking the mound, so let's run through the Maryvale starting lineups. And it goes like this. Starting at second base will be Joe Thurston of the Los Angeles Dodgers organization. Playing center field and batting second will be So Taguchi from the St. Louis Cardinals. Batting third and playing right field will be Termel Sledge out of the Montreal Expos organization. Batting cleanup will be New York Yankees third baseman Drew Henson. Batting fifth and the designated hitter will be Corey Hart out of the Milwaukee Brewers organization. Batting sixth and playing first base will be John Gall from the Cardinals organization. Batting seventh and playing left field will be D. Haynes out of the Cards organization. Batting eighth, the shortstop Bill Hall out of the Brewers organization. And batting ninth and doing the catching will be Russ Jacobson out of the Philadelphia Phillies organization. They'll be facing the big right-hander, Bobby Jenks, 1-1 with a .62 earned run average. This will be his 8th start of the season. So far, 29 innings of work, just 2 earned runs, 43 strikeouts, 13 walks, and opposing hitters hitting just .202 against them. And you were talking about 4+ pitches and his problems with his control. He seemed to settle down a little bit here in the Arizona Fall League.
Well, he really has. He had just a super Fall League last year. He dominated the league. He was the best pitcher in the league last year for me. Then he went out during the summer and struggled. So, it's just a matter of him being able to carry this thing over, get some consistency. But if he's throwing strikes and he's getting his breaking ball over, he's almost impossible to hit.
Second baseman Joe Thurston steps into the box to lead it off. Maryvale comes into this ball game 10-23. Scottsdale 23-11. Thurston bats from the left side. Jenks, the big right-hander. Corner infielders are in. Ukillis at third base. Ken Harvey of the Royals organization in at the corner. Fastball strike on the outside corner for called strike one.
Joe Thurston's coming off just an absolutely terrific year at AAA, Las Vegas for the Dodgers. We'll go into his numbers in a bit, but really just had a super year.
0-1 off speed downstairs, and the count evens up at 1 ball and 1 strike. Casey Moser calls the balls and strikes for today's ball game. Jenks is 1-1. Fastball looped in the air to shallow left field. Back goes Olson, the shortstop, camps under and makes the grab for the first out.
Well, if Bobby Jenks can throw his fastball over to the plate, if he can establish the fact that, yes, I can throw my fastball for strikes, it makes it very difficult on the hitters. They have to speed their bat up. They have to catch up with a 94 to 98 mile an hour fastball. You got to cheat a little bit. You got to get the bat going early, and it's very hard to do both, to cheat and get out in front and stay back for the curveball and a changeup.
Throughout the ball game, we'll try to get some general managers up in the booth and talk a little bit about their organizations and their players out on the field right now. As So Taguchi, the center fielder, steps in for Maryvale. 1 out, top of the first inning, no score. Jenks' fastball is cut on and missed, 0-1 to Taguchi. Off day yesterday for the entire league. Maryvale defeated Mesa 6-2 on Saturday. And Taguchi was 2 for 4 in that ball game with 2 runs. This one's just over the head of the second baseman Cada into right field for a base hit. Jenks came in on the hands of Taguchi, and he fought that one off.
Well, the thing about Bobby Jenks, too, his birth date is, and this is scary when I see this kind of thing, is March 14th, 1981. I was
In the big leagues, right?
I was starting my second year in the big leagues, but, you know, he's only, what's that work out? He's 21 years old. He'll be 22 next year during the season. You know, he had 123-plus innings last year and walked 90 hitters, and you're just not going to be effective when you walk that many people. And it's just hard to believe because, you know, when people see him down here in the fall league, he does have command. He's able to throw the ball over the plate. He does not walk people, but he's had trouble during the regular season.
Jenks works from the stretch, first pitch to the right fielder, Termel Sledge, is a breaking ball that misses inside. Taguchi's had a nice Arizona Fall League so far this year. Came in hitting .349. Sledge comes in hitting .287, 3 home runs, 16 RBIs. The 1-0, there's a ground ball, one hopper to the shortstop, Olson, over to Cada for one, on to first base in time for the inning-ending double play. So nothing doing for Maryvale here in the top of the first inning. No runs on one hit, no men left on base. 1 half inning complete. It's Maryvale 0, Scottsdale coming up as you're listening to the Arizona Fall League coverage live on Major League Baseball Radio.
From the Brooklyn Dodgers to the Los Angeles Dodgers, the Milwaukee Braves to the Atlanta Braves, from old school to new school, MLB.com Auctions has got you covered. Whether you're looking for Billy Williams or Bernie Williams, Sparky Anderson or Garrett Anderson, we've got memorabilia of your favorite players from yesterday, today, and tomorrow. So log on now to MLB.com Auctions and get your bids in on signed balls, hats, jerseys, bases, and much, much more. So bid her up and get your season off on the right foot with MLB.com Auctions now.
Hi, this is Ben Platt with MLB Radio.
This is Tommy Lasorda. Ben, I've known you for years. In fact, if I were to really express my feelings for you, I would say you are really a pain in the you-know-where.
Tommy, how can you say that about me?
But you may be the guy that even started that interview with Kingman.
What do you mean, Tommy? I was 12 years old.
Hey, Ben, I'm sick and tired. Don't interview me anymore, okay?
The Benny P. interview is exclusively on MLB Radio.
Welcome back out to Sancet Field here on the campus of the University of Arizona in Tucson, and run down the starting lineup for the Scottsdale Scorpions. Leading it off will be the designated hitter, Sean Figgins of the Angels organization. Batting second will be the center fielder, Nathan Haynes, also from the Angels ball club. It'll be Tim Olson batting third and playing shortstop out of the D-backs organization. Batting cleanup, the man who's just been tearing up the Arizona Fall League, the first baseman, Ken Harvey, out of the Royals organization. Batting fifth will be Dane Sardina, the catcher. He's out of the Reds organization. Batting sixth will be Matt Cada, the second baseman, also from the D-backs. Justin Sherrod plays right field and bats seventh out of the Red Sox organization. It'll be Kevin Youkilis from the Boston Red Sox organization, the third baseman, batting eighth. And batting ninth, Kenny James, the left fielder, out of the Anaheim Angels organization. And they'll all be facing, I should say, Cheyenne Janke. And the right-hander, 1-1 with a 4.74 earned run average, making his third start. 19 innings of work, 10 earned runs, 14 strikeouts, 8 walks, and opposing hitters hitting .291 against him. Higgins, a switch hitter, bats from the left side, takes a off-speed pitch outside for ball one.
Well, Sean Figgins had a little excitement the last couple of months, was on the roster for the postseason, on the bench during the World Series victory. So very exciting time for a young player to be involved in something like that.
Takes an off-speed pitch in there called strike one. 1 ball and 1 strike on the designated hitter. Drew Henson way in on the grass at third base as Figgins swings and misses on the off-speed, and he's in the hole at 1 ball and 2 strikes. Playing in just his 8th ball game down here in the Arizona Fall League. Hitting .172, no home runs, 1 RBI, does have a stolen base. 1-2, fastball upstairs, count even to 2 balls and 2 strikes. You talk about prospects, and we mentioned Drew Henson. He's been talked about for the last couple of years. Figgins fouls one on the left side and out of play, and the count remains 2-2.
I think I've seen, Victor, every single writer that I knew in the 80s when I played for the Mets is here today, and he had a mini press conference down there on the field. So as part of playing in New York, it was something to see.
The 2-2 fastball cut on and missed, a little bit outside of the strike zone, and Figgins goes down for the first out. So coming up for the Scorpions will be the center fielder, Nathan Haynes. Haynes out of the Anaheim Angels organization, left-handed batter. Not a big guy, 5'9", 170. Played this year up in Salt Lake. And Haynes went 1 for 3 in Saturday's loss to Grand Canyon. First pitch fastball inside to the left-hand hitting center fielder for ball one.
thing that's got to be a little discouraging for some of these Anaheim young players in the minor leagues is every single player on their major league club that had anything to do with that World Series victory this year is signed, is sealed, and delivered not only for next year, but in some cases for years to come. So
for a couple of years, right?
That's right. They've got their best position players seem to be some of their youngest guys and their most productive, and they're going to be around for a while. So you really look for the same type of club. Now they've got Orlando Palmeiro and they had Alex Ochoa as free agents, so maybe they're looking at Sean Figgins and Nathan Haynes to fill that specific role on the club.
Haynes had fouled one off the left side, and the off-speed pitch misses outside. 2 balls and 1 strike now on the center fielder, Haynes. Can run a little bit, 6 stolen bases. A 2-1, chopper to the first baseman, Gall. He'll take it himself, tags the bag for out number 2. So 2 quick outs here by Cheyenne Janke. Kind of an unusual name. I read a story where his parents were out camping one night. The fish weren't biting. Thus he was conceived. And they were up in Montana. So, hence the name Cheyenne.
Rather than name him after a fish.
That's right. So with 2 outs in the bottom of the first inning, the shortstop Tim Olson steps up. Olson out of the Arizona Diamondbacks organization, having a very fine Arizona Fall League, and he lifts one in the air to left center field, or left field, I should say. Falls in there for a base hit, swinging on the first pitch. Came in hitting .397, so he adds to that total.
He's been one of the brighter players in the Diamondbacks organization in terms of this fall league. He swung the bat, as you said, Victor, very well and played outstanding defense at shortstop. And he continues to get better. I saw him at several stops this year, and this is the best I've seen him play. And so maybe the light has gone on, and now we're seeing the player that we're going to see in the future, a major league player. So I know they have to be excited anytime you have a player at a premium position like shortstop, center field, catcher. It's nice to see that.
Janke will work from the stretch. First pitch to the first baseman, Kent Harvey, is a fastball up and in. And Harvey has just been unbelievable in this Arizona Fall League. Comes in hitting .516. That's not a typo. 6 home runs, 31 RBIs. And he's just about to shatter every Arizona Fall League record and drives one into dead center field. So Taguchi going back at the warning track, reaches up, it's off his glove. Around third base comes Tim Olson. He's going to score as Ken Harvey heads into second base. And an RBI double by Ken Harvey gives the Scorpions a 1-0 lead. That ball just seemed to continue to carry out to center field.
Well, the ball carries very well in the desert here. And not only is it dry, not humid air, but the altitude is fairly high. So the ball carries very, very well. But, Ken Harvey, he got jammed a little bit there. And he got the bat through the zone fast enough to fight the ball off. He's very strong and hit the ball straightaway center field about 400 feet off the fifth. So he's certainly strong enough to hit the ball out of the park.
Sure was. RBI number 32 during this Arizona Fall League. As the catcher for the Cincinnati Reds organization, Dane Sardina steps in. 2 outs, a runner on at second base. 1-0 Scorpions lead it in the bottom of the first. First pitch fastball in there for called strike 1. Sardina hitting .291, 4 home runs, 22 runs batted in. And it's always a plus when you got a good catch and throw guy behind the dish, but when you can swing the stick a little bit, you got to be pretty happy. The 0-1 breaking ball lifted in the air down the left field line. That's going to fall in there. Harvey's going to scamper home. Sardina thinks about going to second base. He'll hold up in there as Haynes gets the ball back into the infield. Now it gets away from the second baseman, Thurston. But a nice play by the right fielder, Termel Sledge, to back up to hold Sardina on at first base. So 2-0 Scottsdale on the RBI base hit by Dane Sardina.
Oh, Dane Sardina's the guy that swung the bat extremely well, as you said, Victor, in this entire season in this league. And here's a guy that hits just about 200 in Double-A and really did not perform offensively. He's a very good catch and throw guy, and he can block balls. He's got very quick release time. So anytime you have a guy that, as you said, can catch the ball and throw it to second base and swing the bat, then you've got something valuable on your hands.
Second baseman Matt Cada steps up and fouls off a fastball. 0-1 the count. Cada out of the Diamondbacks organization, hitting .265, a home run, 9 RBIs. He does have 2 stolen bases. Sardina, unfortunately for him, he is a catcher, so he doesn't run that well. He just has 1 stolen base this developmental league. It's tough to say this season, or not to say this season.
Yeah, this month.
Yeah, this month. Janke threw over to first base. Sardina not going anywhere. 2 outs in the bottom of the first inning. Scottsdale up 2-0. Janke sets the 0-1. Fastball misses away. 1 ball and 1 strike. Cada, switch hitter, batting from the left side against the right-hander Janke. Out of Avon Lakes, Ohio. Maryvale straight away defensively as the breaking ball is in there for a called strike. 1 ball and 2 strikes now.
Well, Matt Cade is really out of the mold of Tim Olson. They're not the most blessed players physically and talent-wise, but these guys are very solid fundamentally. They don't make mistakes on the field, mental mistakes. They don't get themselves out at the plate. They don't beat themselves in the field. So they're doing a good job in their organization of not only developing the physical part of the game, but really instilling in these young players there's a right way to play this game, and I see it throughout their organization. They do play the game the right way, and they play it hard.
The 1-2 almost hit Cada, so it's now 2-2, and he swings on the breaking pitch. 1 hops the catcher, Jacobson. He'll throw down to first base, and Cada goes down swinging for the 3rd out, but not before the Scorpions put 2 runs on the board on 3 hits. They do strand a runner. We played 1 inning here in Tucson, Arizona, and it's Scottsdale 2, Maryvale nothing, as you're listening to Arizona Fall League coverage live on Major League Baseball Radio.
Last season, the Major Leagues produced 5,693 home runs, 2,924 stolen bases, and 31,356 strikeouts. We also motivated thousands of students to further their education through after-school programs. And over the years, we have built and refurbished numerous ball fields in communities all over the country. Apparently, not all the important stats are the box score. Major League Baseball charities. Consider it.
Your grandparents came here.
The long drive, and it's a home run for Joe DiMaggio.
Your parents came here.
Here comes Roger Madison to score it. The Taylor pulling the second with the double.
Now it's your turn.
Number 3,000 for one of the great players of all time, George Brett.
Cooperstown, New York. A tradition of excellence for 7 decades. Be a part of it. For information, call 1-888-HALL of Fame.
Welcome back out to Sancet Field on the campus of the University of Arizona. Victor Rojas and Ed Lynch with you, bringing you the coverage of Arizona Fall League here on Major League Baseball Radio. Bobby Jenks continuing his warm-up tosses. And Ed, one of the things we love to do here on Major League Baseball Radio is take emails from our listeners. And you can send us emails all the time. radio@MLB.com is the address. And Manny from Connecticut, actually he instant messaged us, and he says, which free agent do you think the Mets will go out and sign this year?
Well, I can't really talk about that right now. I'm not exactly sure when the declaration period begins or ends. 2 weeks from the World Series, so right now it's a pretty quiet time. I will say that you can talk to players a certain period of time after the World Series. You can talk to them, but not about money. You can talk to them about your city, your club, what role you think they might fill. But there are deadlines, and they're very strict about what time of year and what days you can and cannot talk about Major League free agents.
Well, there you go, Manny. We can't say anything right now. Drew Henson leads it off for Maryvale. Top of the 2nd inning. Maryvale trailing now 2-0. Henson has struggled this Arizona Fall League, hitting just 193. Does have 3 home runs, 17 RBIs. And Maryvale, as I mentioned in the opening, has struggled offensively. They're hitting .257 collectively. As Henson fouls off the fastball from Jenks. 0-1 the count. And all the talk about Drew Henson, you've already mentioned all the reporters from the New York metropolitan area in attendance here. Is there a lot of pressure on this kid?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is playing in New York. I mean, some guys thrive on it, some guys back away from it. I have the feeling he's the kind of kid that thrives on it. You know, he was a Big Ten football prospect. I mean, he might have been the first pick in the draft. I mean, this guy was big-time college football. I don't think there's much more pressure than that, being a quarterback at Michigan, especially on Ohio State Saturday. But, it's just something he's just going to have to learn to adapt to the pitching the higher he gets and just learn to make contact because he's strong enough.
1-1 to Henson is lifted foul to the right side and out of play, so 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Well, I can tell you, when this kid gets the barrel of the bat on the ball, and it's a certain trajectory, that ball is out of the park. There's absolutely no doubt about it. He's just got big-time power, and there's no ballpark in America that can hold him. But the thing he needs to do is just make more consistent contact, just like any other hitter.
1-2 1-2 fastball, slow roller up the middle. Cato, the second baseman, scoops it up, flips over to Harvey in time for the first out. Yeah, I mean, when you're 6'5", 222, and you're playing college football, you're a quarterback at a D1 school, you can say pretty much you're athletic.
Oh, absolutely. And you know what else you can say? That you've learned leadership skills. I mean, we all know football is especially the quarterback position, is a leadership job. And boy, when you're in Pop 1 and you're 10 years old, they're teaching you how to be a leader. So he's got all the intangibles. Like I said, it's just a matter of the bat coming together, because he is a bad projection. Let's face it. They didn't sign him to win Gold Gloves at third base. He's a good third baseman, but the reason they signed him was for his bat and to be just a run producer. So, he's got time. He needs more at-bats. It takes a couple thousand at-bats sometimes for guys to get the field.
Corey Hart, the DH, hits one up the middle. Nice play by Olson, the shortstop, picks it up, throws over to Ken Harvey in time for out number 2. Nice play by Olson, sliding, knocking that ball down near the bag at second base and throwing out the designated hitter, Corey Hart.
Well, he's done that the entire fall. I mean, as I said earlier, somebody with maybe a little more range might have gone over, picked the ball up through it, but he knew he couldn't get to it. He'd stay on his feet, so he slid, made a nice play, got up through the runner out at first base.
So 2 outs down, the top of the second inning. Maryvale still up. John Gall, the first baseman out of the St. Louis Cardinals organization, steps in. A big hammer by Bobby Jenks is in there for a called strike.
That's exactly what that thing is. And if people wonder why we call it a hammer, if you ever throw a hammer through the air, you can see that it's top heavy and it tends to go straight down very hard, and that's exactly what his curveball is doing.
And Jenks follows that one up with an even better curveball. And Gall is in the hole at 0-2. Gall hitting .240, 3 home runs, 7 RBIs. That's from the right side. And another curveball missing away, and 1 ball and 2 strikes. Do you recommend that? 3 consecutive breaking balls like that?
Well, the thing about Bobby Jenks, it doesn't really matter his stuff is so good, it doesn't matter what pitches he throws when, because if he gets them over, he's going to get you out.
1-2 fastball slapped down the right field line, off the line, and goes all the way into the corner. Gall rounds first, heads into second base. Sherrod, the right fielder, gets the ball back into the infield, and a 1-2 pitch. Jenks tries to go fastball, and Gall slaps a double down the right field line.
Well, that's a pretty good piece of hitting right there by John Gall. I mean, he just threw him 3 outstanding curveballs in a row, and then throws a fastball on the outer third of the plate at the knees, and he hits a rope down the right field line on the chalk. So whether by accident or design, it was certainly a nice piece of hitting there by John Gall.
2 outs, a runner on in scoring position for Maryvale, as the left fielder, D. Haynes, out of the Cardinals organization, steps in. Haynes hitting .259, 2 home runs, 9 runs batted in. Jenks will work from the stretch. Takes a gander over at Gall. First pitch. A slider or cutter?
Looks like he's got a slider. He's got a very good slider. It's about 88 miles an hour. It's a late breaker.
Wow.
And the problem is he's got so many good pitches to choose from. It's just hard to decide what to throw, and there's a temptation for him to show all of his pitches. But, if you're getting him out on 2 pitches, why throw 4? If you're getting him out on 3, why throw 4?
Sure.
So, but he's got all the pitches. It's just a matter of him picking out their priority and what he feels most comfortable with.
Well, we'll call that one a slider for ball 1. Fastball up and in. Down runs to 2 balls and no strikes. Haynes bats from the right side. 6 feet, 205 pounds, out of Embry, Mississippi. Jenks comes set. The 2-0. Fastball missing down and away. 3 balls and no strikes. Scorpions wearing their home whites, even though we're down in Tucson, they are the home team. And each player wears their respective team's uniforms with the Scottsdale Scorpions hat on. Called strike on the fastball, 3 balls and 1 strike. Tommy John, the skipper of the Maryvale Ball Club, coaching over in the third base box. Scottsdale is skippered by Al Padrique out of the Diamondbacks organization. Jenks comes set, the 3-1. Fastball up the middle, off his glove, into center field. Gall being waved around. Here comes the throw from Haynes. It's cut off by Ken Harvey. So Maryvale will score, and it's 2-1 Scottsdale.
Well, that's the situation there, Victor. I don't care how good your stuff is at what level, but if you pitch behind in the count, you have a 3-1 count with men in scoring position, that hitter has the luxury of looking for certain pitches, and whether you throw 89 or 99, if you throw a pitch in a zone that hitter's concentrating on 3-1, he has the luxury of looking in one area at the exclusion of all the others, and he got a fastball there he could handle, and he hit a base hit to center field. So It was a pretty good piece of hitting there by D. Haynes to drive in a run.
Still 2 outs here in the top of the second inning. As the shortstop, Bill Hall, steps in. Hall out of the Brewers organization. Played in the Arizona Fall League last season. Jenks' first offering, curveball in there for strike 1. Hall also participated in the Futures game in Milwaukee this year. Hometown guy. Got a nice ovation. Jenks gets his sign. Takes a look over to first base, and the curveball is in there once again. No balls and 2 strikes.
You know, Billy Hall's numbers weren't the greatest in the world, but this is a fine young player at 22 years old playing at the AAA level. That's pretty impressive. I mean, he's the age of a college senior competing with guys who have basically, most of them have major league experience.
The 0-2 fastball is looped down the right field side, broken bat by Bill Hall. Might have to pick up his knuckles on that one, too. That was off the end of the bat there.
Oh, Bobby Jenks can break some bats. He certainly gets that clubhouse guy, keeps him busy during the game. With that stuff on both sides of the plate, it's very difficult to keep your bat in one piece sometimes.
So Hall gets some new lumber, rubs it down. Well, Manny Mota's stick. No balls and 2 strikes on Hall. Haynes on at first base and a 2-out RBI base hit. And cuts their deficit to 2-1. Hall hitting just .094, playing in just his 11th game here in the Arizona Fall League. Jenks gets his sign. Sardina outside, the 0-2 curveball upstairs. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Have a quiet crowd here at the University of Arizona. Good crowd on hand. Arizona Fall League not known for its attendance, as the breaking ball missing upstairs again. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Well, the problem is about 50% of the crowd are baseball executives, and we're taught sitting back there we don't really, not the cheering kind of, just kind of talking and watching, and scouts don't cheer. So it's a who's who in Major League Baseball back here today. I've seen several GMs and several agents and media people.
2-2 fastball lifted in the air to the right side in foul territory. Ken Harvey, the first baseman, in front of the dugout, makes the grab for the 3rd out. A lot of room here in foul territory at Sancet Field. But Maryvale strikes back. They put a run on the board on 2 hits. They do strand a runner. And as we head to the bottom of the second inning, it's Scottsdale 2, Maryvale 1, as you're listening to Arizona Fall League coverage live on Major League Baseball Radio.
I'm Derek Dieter. When I was growing up, my parents and I would go to the schoolyard every weekend and play ball. They teach me how if I practiced and didn't give up, my swing could get better. But if I got in front of the ball and wasn't afraid, I could stop it. But there weren't any shortcuts to becoming a better player. But if I believed in myself, I could do it. Funny, all that time, I thought they were teaching me how to play baseball.
Helping your kids find a dream can help keep them off drugs. This message brought to you by Partnership for Drug-Free America. Visit us at drugfreeamerica.org.
Just to realize how important baseball is to a lot of people, and to see them come in with their kids, and you look around and you see the enthusiasm they have here, and it makes you say, well, hey, baseball been here for 100 years and it's still going strong.
Relive your fondest memories of Brooks Robinson and see his Hall of Fame plaque at the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, New York. For more information, visit us on the web at baseballhalloffame.org or call 888-HALL-OF-FAME.
We're back out at Sancet Field on the campus of the University of Arizona in Tucson. Victor Rojas, Ed Lynch with you. And if you want to send us an email, feel free to do so. radio@mlb.com is the email address. We're more than happy to read your email on the air and hopefully can try to get an answer for you. And we will, looks like we're going to get Walt Jocketty, the general manager of the St. Louis Cardinals, up in the booth with us here momentarily. Talk a little bit about the organization and the run that they had this year, and what an up-and-down season for them emotionally.
No, it really was. I mean, not only did they lose a Hall of Fame broadcaster and Jack Bach, but they lost one of their best starting pitchers. And, it's one thing, and I don't say this meanly because we lost Harry Carey. It's one thing to lose a man in his 80s, and it's another to lose a man in the prime of his life in his early 30s. So very, very emotional year for the Cardinals.
Sure. Justin Sherrod, the right fielder, steps in there and takes a breaking ball in there for strike 1. Sherrod hitting .277, no home runs, 11 RBIs. That's from the right side. Breaking ball bounces in the dirt, goes all the way to the backstop. And the count evened up at 1 ball and 1 strike. 2-1, Scottsdale leads Maryvale. Bottom of the second inning. Fastball in there, called strike 2. 1 ball and 2 strikes, and it didn't look like Sharon was happy with the call. The 1-2 from Janke, fastball upstairs. Count even to 2 balls and 2 strikes. Sherrod out of Boynton Beach, Florida. 2-2, fastball, chopper over the pitcher. Picked up by the shortstop. Hall throws on the run in time for the first out. Janke had an opportunity to get in that ball. He's a big kid out there. But Hall made a nice play on the run on the infield grass.
Well, Janke's shown the ability to work both sides of the plate, meaning he can throw his fastball on the outer part of the plate when he's trying to, and he can throw it on the inner part of the plate when he's trying to. And that might sound very simple, but it's just amazing how many of these young pitchers cannot do that with their fastball, and it's something every one of them has to learn to do if you're going to pitch in the major leagues. Because as I said earlier, even if you throw 100 miles an hour, you have to have a plan. You have to be able to execute. You got to work both sides of the plate with your fastball.
The 0-1 to Kevin Ukiles, the third baseman, is lifted in the air to dead center field. So Taguchi camps under it and makes the grab for out number 2. And Taguchi didn't have to move too far to make that grab. 2 outs now in the bottom of the second inning, and that'll bring up the left fielder, Kenny James, out of the Anaheim Angels organization. And if I'm not mistaken, it looks as if someone forgot their top today.
Well, that's one of the red tops they have. I know it looked like a batting practice top, or Bob probably left it back in Phoenix. But well, that red was omnipresent in the Southern California area, especially after the season and the postseason, with the Angels just set Orange County and Southern California on fire. So I saw more red hats in Southern California than I have in my previous life. So it was an exciting year for the organization.
James fouled off a pitch, attempting to bunt. Pretty good speed, 7 stolen bases on the year, bats from the left side. He's kind of hoping for a Red Storm World Series, Cardinals and Angels. Off speed missing away, 1 ball and 1 strike now on James. James hitting .255, he does have a home run. 8 runs batted in. Henson even with the bag at third base. 1-1, breaking ball swung on and missed.
You know, you bring up a point there. I've seen Kenny James several at-bats this fall, and he tries to bunt at least once every at-bat. And what that does, with his speed, if you get the ball down, you have a chance to beat it out. But also what it does, it brings in that third baseman. It really opens up the opportunity for you to hit the ball through the infield on the ground.
1-2 fastball almost hits him. Count even to 2 balls and 2 strikes. And not only does it bring Drew Henson in, it brings the shortstop Bill Hall in as well.
Exactly. And I can't believe that more hitters don't do it. Even if you don't want to bunt, just show it.
2-2 breaking ball looped in the air to right field. That falls in there for a base hit. Big turn by James, but he'll hold up right there with the 2-out base hit. So that takes us back to the top of the order. And the designated hitter, Shoney Figgins.
And it's what we call playing the little man's game. I mean, you have to know who you are. The first thing you have to do as a player or a pitcher is decide who you are. As a pitcher, are you a sinker slider guy? Are you a cross-seam fastball, curveball guy? You have to figure out who you are and then work to make yourself the best of that type of player. And if you're Shone Figgins or you're Kenny James, you can't go up there and you can't swing like Drew Henson and you can't swing like Albert Pujols or people like that. You've got to put the ball on the ground. You've got to keep the ball out of the air. As we said earlier, you have to fake the bunt. You've got to use every advantage that speed gives you to your advantage and try to take advantage of that.
Janke comes set. First pitch to Figgins, a fastball in there for strike 1. Figgins 0 for 1, struck out swinging to lead off the bottom of the first inning. 2-1, Scottsdale leads it. We're in the bottom of the second. 2 outs, and James on at first base. Leads the Scorpions in stolen bases with 7. Janke comes set, snapped over to first base, and they picked him off. 1-3, the put out. James was leaning towards the second base bag, but that is the 3rd out. So nothing doing for Scottsdale here. They did get a hit, no runs. No men left on base. We played 2 here in Tucson. It's Scottsdale 2, Maryvale 1, as you're listening to Arizona Fall League coverage live on Major League Baseball Radio.
My son had a problem. He was bored at his public school. So I helped change it into a new kind of school. One with a curriculum that really motivates kids. A school that has extended hours, 6 days a week year-round, filled with loads of academic, cultural, and recreational activities. one with medical, dental, and eye care right there, where parents are encouraged to be involved at all levels as early as possible. A school where teachers have more time to teach and students are excited about learning. But now there's another problem. He's having so much fun, he doesn't want to leave school. You can turn your public school into a community school for excellence. Find out how. Call 1-877-LOVE-TO-LEARN and get the information you need to get started.
A message from the Children's Aid Society, the Coalition for Community Schools, and the Ad Council.
Welcome back out to Sancet Field in Tucson, Arizona. Scottsdale leads Maryvale 2-1. Scottsdale put 2 runs on the board in the bottom of the first inning. Maryvale answered with a run of their own in the top of the second inning. Victor Rojas, Ed Lynch with you. What a beautiful day here in Tucson, Arizona. I hear that this is the best time of year to be out here.
Well, it really is. I mean, let's face it, it's hot out here in the summertime, and I've always heard that.
It's a dry heat.
Well, there's no humidity. Well, there's no humidity in my oven when I'm cooking a pizza either. So, but it's a beautiful place to live. We love the desert, and it's a unique place. And as an Easterner, I can tell you it's a lot different. And we have family and friends come out and visit us, and they're a little shocked by it. You know, it looks like the planet, the face of the moon sometimes, but it's alive with wildlife, and it's a very beautiful, beautiful place. We love it very much, but it's still a tad warm in the summertime.
Sure. Scottsdale starter Bobby Jenks out there for his third inning of work as he faces Russ Jacobson, the catcher for Maryvale, and throws a fastball in there for strike one. Jacobson out of the Philadelphia Phillies organization, hitting just 182, no home runs, 2 RBIs. Fastball up and in. Count even to 1 ball and 1 strike. Jacobson, a big kid, at least for a catcher anyway, 6'3", 210 out of Phoenix, Arizona. So I would say the Arizona Fall League saved some money on the housing on Jacobson. I'm just kidding.
Well, he must be tough, too, because Bobby Jenks, the pitch before, threw a pitch about 96 miles an hour, about 3 inches from his Adam's apple, and he just leaned back about 2 inches to let it go by, didn't move his feet, and got right back in there. So he's determined.
2-1 fastball fouled off the shin guard of Dane Sardina. Count evened up at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Saw Dave Dombrowski walk in. General manager. Actually, yeah, I guess, is he still the general manager?
He's the general manager,
still holds
yes.
the title, right? Detroit Tigers organization. The 2-2 pitch from Jenks. Breaking balls cut on, fouled off, held on. No, it was not. Home plate umpire Casey Moser says the ball hit the ground. Sardina kind of turns his head a little bit. I thought he caught it. So Jacobson will get another opportunity. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Scottsdale playing straight away defensively against Jacobson, the number 9 hitter. 2-2, chopper over the middle, pass to diving shortstop Olson into center field for a base hit.
A good piece of hitting there by Russ Jacobson. One thing you can't do with Bobby Jenks is you can't try to pull the ball if it's in the outer part of the plate. Just try to make contact, hit the ball through the middle of the diamond. It's exactly what Russ did and got himself a base hit.
So you go from what you thought was a strikeout to a base hit. That's the second high chopper we've seen from in front of the plate there here at Sancet Field. And then really nothing goes on here except University of Arizona baseball during the springtime.
Well, I'm very impressed with the condition of the field. The grass is green. The field is soft. They've obviously watered it very, very well. So I'm very impressed with the facility here today.
Joe Thurston fouls one into the right field area for strike one. The leadoff hitter 0 for 1 as he popped out to the shortstop Olson in the first inning. Runner on at first base as Jacobson reached on the base hit. Nobody out in the top of the third inning. Ukilis, the third baseman, in at the cut of the grass. Jenks comes set. The 0-1. There's a chopper to the first baseman, Ken Harvey, but he'll field it in foul territory. So the count runs to no balls and 2 strikes.
Now, we talked about Joe Thurston earlier. Here's a guy who had a monster year at AAA, 64 extra base hits for a guy that doesn't hit a lot of home runs. 39 doubles, 13 triples, 12 home runs, stole 22 bases, middle infielder. the Dodgers certainly have to be excited about him. And someone mentioned to me earlier he was the runner-up for Minor League Player of the Year to Rocco Baldelli. So certainly just a fabulous year for Joe Thurston, and came up to the big leagues, hit .462 in a very limited look. So he's certainly probably going to get a long look at spring training.
The 0-2 from Jenks. Little slider down and in, it looked like. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Thurston having to dance out of the way. Harvey holding Jacobson on, doesn't run very well. 1 ball and 2 strikes now on Thurston. Left-hand hitting second baseman. A 1-2 pitch from Jenks. Curveball in there for called strike 3. Thurston couldn't even pull the bat out of the holster on that one.
Well, that's one of those curveballs that even if you're looking for it, it's very difficult to hit. And you can't go up there with a guy that throws this hard. If you go up there looking for a curveball, it's a prescription for disaster, because if he throws something hard at you, you cannot get out of the way, and it's just very hard to react to a fastball when you're looking curveball. So you have to go up there looking for that number 1. And as I said earlier, if he's getting that breaking ball over the quality that it is, it's very difficult to hit, and sometimes, as you said, very difficult to swing at.
So the center fielder, So Taguchi, steps in. With 1 out, a runner on at first base. Taguchi 1 for 1, singled in the first inning, takes a fastball downstairs for ball 1. Mentioned earlier, Taguchi having a very good Arizona Fall League here in the 2002 season. 349, a home run, 8 RBIs. A 1-0 fastball. Diving stop by the third baseman, Youkilis. He goes to second base, Cada, for 1, and Cada unable to continue the double play, but a spectacular play by the third baseman, Kevin Youkilis, out of the Boston Red Sox organization.
Well, that's as good a play as you're going to see at third base. That ball was by him, basically. He was parallel to the ground. Probably caught the ball behind his body, already past him. Had the presence of mind to pop up and throw the slower runner at second base and at least get an out. So just a fabulous play over there by Kevin Youkilis.
So 2 outs now, and the right fielder, Termel Sledge, will step in. Taguchi on at first base now. Good speed, has 6 stolen bases coming into today's ball game. Throw over by Jenks. Taguchi back easily. Sledge 0 for 1, grounded into a double play in the first inning. Out of the Montreal Expos organization, bats from the left side against the right-hander Jenks. Jenks comes set, takes a look, first pitch, fastball in there for strike 1. Good, quiet crowd here in Tucson, Arizona.
I have a feeling everybody's listening to everything we have to say because there is not much noise here today.
And the crowd mic is on, too. Fastball in there, called strike 2. No balls and 2 strikes on Sledge. 2 outs, top of the third inning. Scottsdale leads Maryvale 2-1. 1 run, 4 hits for Maryvale. 2 runs, 4 hits for Scottsdale. Jenks comes set, the 0-2. Curveball missing upstairs. 1 ball and 2 strikes. And since he threw those 2 good curveballs to John Gall, he's missed a couple times up in the strike zone with the breaking pitch. Sardina sets up inside. The 1-2 fastball misses in. Count even now at 2-2.
Well, there's decisions you have to make on certain pitchers. We all know that closers are worth their weight in gold, and it's funny how closers really don't come from a defined career path. I mean, let's face it, Major League starting pitchers who go out and they win 20 games, the Roger Clemens of the world and Greg Maddux, those guys are starting pitchers from day one. They start all the way through the minor leagues. They came up to the big leagues. They're starting pitchers. They go on to great success. Closers come from everywhere and nowhere. It's kind of funny that one of the top 2 closers in each league, Trevor Hoffman, was a shortstop at college right here at University of Arizona. Troy Percival was a catcher at Cal State Fullerton, and both of those guys started late and became great closers. So my point is that everybody comes from a different spot, and maybe Bobby Jenks is one of those guys.
2-2 fastball is lifted into foul territory. Kevin Youkilis, the third baseman, makes the grab in front of the third base dugout for the third out. So nothing doing for Maryvale here in their half of the third inning. No runs on 1 hit, 1 man left on base. We're going to the bottom of the third with Scottsdale leading Maryvale 2-1 as you're listening to Arizona Fall League coverage on Major League Baseball Radio.
What's an American tradition? Baseball? Maybe. Apple pie? Sometimes. Bacon fat on toast? Definitely. When the cupboard's empty and chicken, beef, fish, and fresh vegetables are nowhere to be found, bacon fat on toast is hot and it's cheap. And it's almost as good as a real dinner. Simply take that old tin of bacon drippings you've been storing away and spread some over hot toast. Suddenly your discarded leftovers are transformed into a hot meal that can fill up your whole family. All across America, people just like you are sitting down to bacon fat on toast. When you're hungry, it's the sensible thing to do.
Unfortunately, bacon fat on toast is more popular than you'd think. Right now, 1 out of 5 American children is living with hunger as their parents struggle to make ends meet. Please call 1-800-FEED-KIDS and find out how you can fight child hunger. The sooner you believe it, the sooner we can end it. Brought to you by the Ad Council, America's Second Harvest, and Feeding Children Better.
Welcome back out to Sancet Field here at the campus of the University of Arizona in Tucson. Victor Rojas, Ed Lynch with you. Scottsdale leading Maryvale 2-1 as we head to the bottom of the third inning. Ed, we have an email here from Joey in Oregon who writes, should Alex Rodriguez be the American League most valuable player even though he was on a last-place team? And that's something we were talking about before the game.
Well, I'm a little prejudiced because I've known Alex Rodriguez for many years. Miami, Florida is my hometown. I remember seeing Alex. He actually went to my high school for a year before he transferred, but he to me, has a chance to be one of the great players in the history of baseball. And I know you and I, Victor, talked about, well, last place team. And I could tell you, in 1987, I was a member of the Chicago Cubs, and we had a right fielder named Andre Dawson, and we finished in last place, and there was absolutely no doubt in anybody's mind that he was going to be the MVP of the National League because he was the best player in the National League. And I know, winning is part of that formula, but if you are clearly the best player in your league and probably the best player of your generation or have a chance to be, then you deserve to be the most valuable player of the league, and that's the way I feel about A-Rod.
Sean Figgins leads it off for the Scottsdale Scorpions. The bottom of the third has a 2-0 count. He slaps one down the left field line. That could go for extra bases. Figgins rounds first base. It gets by the left fielder Haynes. He's thinking about third, but he'll hold up right there at second base with a leadoff double. Good piece of hitting by Figgins. Cheyenne Janke trying to go away from him, and he goes with the pitch for a leadoff double.
Well, that's the game that Sean Figgins has to play. He has to keep the ball out of the air, try to hit the ball on the ground, hit line drives, use the whole field, and utilize your speed. That's what he did.
Conference at the mound as Nathan Haynes, the center fielder, will step in. Everyone back to their positions. Cheyenne Janke on the mound. And someone to provide us a little bit more perspective, not only on Janke, but on other Cardinals players down here in the Arizona Fall League, is general manager of the St. Louis Cardinals, Walt Jocketty. Welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Beautiful, beautiful day here in Tucson.
Yeah, we were just complaining about the weather here. It's brutal.
Well, Walt will help us out on the pronunciation of the pitcher's name. Is it Janke or Janke?
Janke.
Okay.
Cheyenne Janke.
Well, we've been correct then for this entire game, and we feel much better about it.
Yeah.
Wow,
the 1-0 by Haynes, lifted in the air to center field. Taguchi makes the grab. Figgins tagging up. A throw is cut off by Hall as Figgins slides into third base. So the job is done by Haynes, getting the runner over to third base.
I know, Walter, you and I talked during the year we were in San Diego together. We talked about just the incredible roller coaster of emotion on your club with the loss of not only a Hall of Fame broadcaster, but one of your best starting pitcher, a man in the prime of life. And how was Tony able to overcome that and keep you guys focused and to go out and have the kind of year that you had?
Well, it was tough, Ed. I think we all kind of drew strength from each other, and how we were able to hold this thing together was really phenomenal. And Tony was the one that had to deal with it day in, day out with the players, and I think we just took a very positive approach. And Darryl was a great friend, a great teammate of everybody, but he was an inspiration, before his death, and he was even more of an inspiration, I think, after his death. I think guys just wanted to live the year for Darryl.
Tim Olson steps up with one out. Figgins on at third base, infield in, and Olson rips one down the left field line. Fair territory. Catches the line. Olson rounds first, heads into second base as Figgins scores. And Olson will hold up right there with an RBI double, giving the Scorpions a 3-1 lead.
Well, I know that Tony certainly deserves a lot of credit for managing that situation and getting you guys to the postseason, but I can tell you that you as a general manager put a club on that field with the right type of people. And, I mean, you have strong people who play the game right, who are able to handle something like that. And, you know, I'm talking from my GM perspective here. I've never seen a manager of the year not have a pretty good general manager upstairs when they win that award. So I think you should get a lot of credit for the things that you've done, not only this past year, but in your entire career in St. Louis. So
well, thank you. I appreciate that. And you know, Tony and I have known each other a long time, and we work well together. And I think that's really the secret. You have to have a management team that works well together and believes in each other and respects each other. And you know, in fact, I just talked to him a few minutes ago, and we talk about this time of year. We talk about every other day or every couple days, anyhow, about players and what we're trying to do.
Ken Harvey chops one foul into down a left field side. No balls and 2 strikes on the first baseman. 1 out. Bottom of the third inning. Scottsdale leading at 3-1. They have a runner on at second base, and we're talking with the general manager of the St. Louis Cardinals, Walt Jocketty.
I remember, Walter, a couple of years ago being out here and seeing Albert Pujols. First time I saw him, he was a little chubby guy. Not a little guy, but he was a little overweight. And, you know, but at first I really didn't like him, but after a while you saw a guy that every time he swung the bat, it seemed like he hit the fastball on the barrel of the bat and hit the ball a long way, and he ran every ball out. And then I see him the next spring, got himself in outstanding physical condition. I mean, can you put into words what having someone like that literally come out of nowhere in your organization and just be one of the better players in the National League, what it means to your organization?
Well, this guy really, Ed, was incredible. This guy, I think we took Albert in about the 15th round, and as you said, he was kind of a soft-bodied guy, or looked like it anyhow.
Harvey chops one to the third baseman, Drew Henson, who throws over to first base. Harvey called out. Olson moves from second to third base, and now there's 2 outs and a runner at third base. Sorry, Walt.
But, you know, he just, that first year just seemed to, he moved through the organization. He played at the low A, and then he moved to high A, and then he went to Memphis, our AAA club, played in the playoffs with them, was the MVP of the playoffs for them, came out here to the Fall League. This is the beauty of the Fall League. I mean, the Fall League really helped him mature a little bit more and see better pitching, and kind of get a feel for what the next step was. And at the time you saw him in the Fall League, he had put a little bit of weight on, and we talked to him then about spending the winter on a very stringent nutritional program and a conditioning program. And because of the year he had, we invited him to spring training, just as you know, a favor, you know, or as a reward for the year he had. The guy ends up making our club. He's Rookie of the Year, and today he came in second in the National League in voting for the MVP. So that's quite a 2-year history for a young man.
That's unbelievable. And, you know, Tony has the luxury of playing him in different places in the field and different parts of your lineup. And, you know, we all know players like, well, I can't hit if I don't hit in this slot in the lineup. If I don't play this position, I don't feel comfortable. And here's a kid goes out. I don't care where you put me in the lineup. I don't care where I play on the field. I'm going to come up to that plate and I'm going to swing the bat. So, you know, you can't plan on having players like that come through your organization, but that's just great inspiration to every player on this field to see a kid like that in the 15th round struggle a little bit early in his career, put it all together, and now he's a superstar. So I think it's a great testament not only to you but to the Arizona Fall League.
Right, and I think that's why I think as you know, being a general manager, and we look at this league as a great league to develop players to kind of put that finishing touch on some guys, and it's you know, and this crowd we have here in Tucson today is remarkable. You know, I'm really surprised, I guess, at the turnout. It's a very good turnout, and but it's you know, I guess it is a holiday, which helps, and it's beautiful weather, but people want to see their baseball.
Have you been surprised yet? Some of the guys that have gone from the Arizona Fall League to the Major League level. Has anybody surprised you yet? That you'd even think about when you were down here scouting for a couple of years, and all of a sudden, boom, he's successful at the big league level.
Well, you know, there's probably been a number of guys. I guess trying to think offhand, I think with our club, we've always tried to send some of the better players down here. But I can't think of any off the top of my head right now. Can you, Ed?
Albert Pujols.
Yeah, well, you're right about that.
What about Eric Hinsky last year.
Hinsky was another guy. You're right. That's another guy came down here and was the rookie of the year this year. So, this really is a terrific league.
Dane Sardina struck out to end the inning, so the Scorpions put a run on the board in the bottom of the third. We've played 3 at Scottsdale, 3 Maryvale 1. We're talking to Walt Janke, the general manager of the St. Louis Cardinals. And, Walt, as you look at the off-season, what are the needs of the St. Louis Cardinals? I mean, is it pitching?
Pitching. It's our everyday lineup is pretty well set. We had 7 free agent pitchers, and we've got to try and re-sign some of them. And I'm not sure that we have the budget to do it all, but we need to definitely rebuild our pitching staff, and that's what our focus is on right now.
Are a lot of these guys that are down here, are they Rule 5 eligible that you look for down the road, or the possibility of getting them down the road?
Yeah, I think so. I think there are some guys here that we have scouts that cover this league and report back to us, really on a daily basis. And we send some other people in to cross-check down here also. But, this is a league that, there's some guys that we have in our club that will be Rule 5 eligible, or from our organization anyhow, that are playing down here that we may not be able to protect, that could become eligible. It just depends on, what situation different clubs are in.
You have 4 guys from your organization in the starting lineup today from Maryvale. Tell us a little about Cheyenne Janke, the pitcher.
Cheyenne is he pitched at Double-A most of the year, and really has kind of developed into quite a prospect for us. At first, when he was first drafted, we weren't that sure, but he's one of those guys just has continued to get better. He's not an overpowering pitcher, but makes good pitches and has learned how to pitch the best of his ability to move up. And I think he's a guy we see probably moving to AAA this year. Haynes had an outstanding year at AA and was one of the best players in the Eastern League this year, and is a guy that should go to AAA next year and has a chance, I would think, in a couple of years to play for us. John Gall's out of Stanford, and John's a guy that has played first and third, and he's played mainly first base this year, and was also at AA, and a kid that we like. I like his bat a lot, and just question where defensively he's going to play, but I think first base looks like his spot. And so Deguchi's a guy that we signed out of the Japanese League last year. Started the year at AAA. We sent him to AA towards the end of the year just to kind of jumpstart him a little bit. He ended up hitting over 300 there. He's done a phenomenal job here. He's a great defensive center fielder. He's got good speed and knows how to steal bases. He plays a little game, and he's hitting about 350 here in the Fall League.
How do you take a look at Taguchi's 350 here in the Fall League? He is the oldest player, I believe, in the Arizona Fall League. Do you take that with a grain of salt?
No, I think we have to. We look at it and realize that this guy's, his strength has not been his offense, and in the past, and I think he was about a 280 hitter in Japan, and he hit about, he was only hitting about 240, I think, 250 in AAA, and there was a big adjustment, and we talked to him about it, and the strike zone was a big adjustment, some things here that were a lot different than they were in Japan. But then he got down to down to AA, and he really, I think, felt more comfortable. Saw, pitching down there. I think that was a little bit easier for him, maybe. But I think it got his confidence back up. He's come out here and has really excelled. That base hit you saw in the first inning, that's the type of hitting he's got to do. He's got to go the opposite way. He was trying to pull the ball too much at AAA, and I think he felt that he had to hit with more power to be successful in the United States, and we told him that's not the case.
Victor Rojas, Ed Lynch with you on Major League Baseball Radio. Walt, thank you very much for joining us. We know we heard the phone ring.
Oh, phone's ringing.
Phone's ringing. So time
either my wife or an agent.
We appreciate your time as always.
All right, thanks
for joining us.
You bet.
Bobby Jenks has sat down the first 2 batters he's faced here in the 4th inning. Drew Henson and Corey Hart both strike out swinging. 0-1 count on John Gall. He lifts one in the air down the left field line. James, the left fielder, makes the grab near the warning track. for out number 3. So Jenks has a fairly easy inning here in the top of the 4th inning. 3 batters, 3 down. And we've played 3.5 as we head to the bottom of the 4th inning. It's Scottsdale 3, Maryvale 1 as you're listening to Arizona Fall League coverage live on Major League Baseball Radio.
From the Brooklyn Dodgers to the Los Angeles Dodgers, the Milwaukee Braves to the Atlanta Braves, from old school to new school, MLB.com Auctions has got you covered. Whether you're looking for Billy Williams or Bernie Williams, Sparky Anderson or Garrett Anderson, we've got memorabilia of your favorite players from yesterday, today, and tomorrow. So log on now to MLB.com Auctions and get your bids in on signed balls, hats, jerseys, bases, and much, much more. So bid her up and get your season off on the right foot with MLB.com Auctions now.
Hi, this is Ben Platt with MLB Radio.
This is Tommy Lasorda. Ben, I've known you for years. In fact, if I were to really express my feelings for you, I would say you are really a pain in the you-know-where.
Tommy, how can you say that about me?
But you may be the guy that even started that interview with Kingman.
What do you mean, Tommy? I was 12 years old.
Hey, Ben, I'm sick and tired. Don't interview me anymore, okay?
The Ben EP interviews exclusively on MLB Radio.
Welcome back out to Sancet Field here at the campus of the University of Arizona in Tucson. Victor Rojas, Ed Lynch with you, bringing you the coverage of the Arizona Fall League live on Major League Baseball Radio. As we head to the bottom of the 4th inning, it's Scottsdale 3, Maryvale 1. And leading it off for the Scorpions here in the 4th will be the second baseman, Matt Cada. Ed got an email here. If you have any questions, feel free to send them on in to radio@mlb.com. Tim writes to us. And he asks, in your opinion, who's the better team in the Arizona Fall League? And furthermore, who is the best player? And you mentioned already, the Arizona Fall League is not about, overall records. It's about developing the guys.
I think that, you're trying to teach, obviously, players to think as a team and work as a team. But let's face it, these guys are down here for 6 weeks. They're on the verge of getting to the major leagues.
Slow roller by Cada, the second baseman, past the diving second baseman. Thurston into right center field for a leadoff base hit.
They're out here playing, and they look up in the stands certain days, and there might be 100 people there, and 60 of them are scouts. And, obviously winning is part of the game, but I really don't look at the teams too much. The Scottsdale club here is playing very well, but, I've had a chance to see some of these players more than others, but, Bobby Jenks is certainly a kid that is one of the better pitchers in this league. Todd Wellmeyer of the Cubs has really shown himself to have made a lot of progress. Mark Teixeira of the Texas Rangers looks like one of the better hitters in this league. Ken Harvey of the Royals. As you said, Victor, you just don't go out and hit 500 and not be a prospect. I mean, it just doesn't happen. So, there are certainly a lot of players here that are going to make appearances in the major league, and I guarantee you there's going to be a player here that overachieves, that does, I don't want to say does something on the level of an Albert Pujols, go out and drive in 130 runs and hit 30 home runs and win Rookie of the Year, but someone's going to go out there next year who's not really expected to and help their team win. So, there's some exciting young players out here.
There goes Cada. The throw down by Jacobson is in time. Stolen base, or not a stolen base, erased on the throw down by the catcher Jacobson. Nice throw to erase Matt Cada for out number 1.
Well, so many times that runner steals that base off the pitcher, and sometimes when that catcher throws the runner out at second base, it's because of the pitcher. And Cheyenne seems to be very quick to the plate and holds the runners on very well and gives his catcher a chance to throw people out.
Justin Sherrod, the right fielder from the Boston Red Sox organization, in the hole at 1 ball and 2 strikes. 1 out in the bottom of the 4th inning. And I'm slowly but surely figuring out that this is tough to do when you got 5 teams represented on each side of the diamond here.
Thank God they're wearing their uniform, their Major League team's uniform. It gives us a shot to know which team they are, and it gets us halfway to who they are. So, because I remember in this league, the first 4 or 5 years, they wore specifically designed uniforms for this league. So Scottsdale would go out there with Scorpion uniforms on, and you'd have your head in your program all day just to figure out who they are. So whoever made this decision, I think it's a very good decision because it gives people an opportunity to see these guys in their uniform and makes you believe that as they're very close to the major leagues.
Sherrod struck out swinging, and Ukilis The third baseman is in the hole at 0-2. 2 outs in the bottom of the fourth inning. Janke winds, the fastball missing outside, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Well, the longer I'm in this game, the more I believe that command is the name of the game for these pitchers. We heard Walt Jocketty talk about Cheyenne and the fact he may not have the best stuff in the world, but he seems to have a plan. He can throw breaking balls over in fastball situations. And believe me, I've sat back there many nights and watched Jamie Moyer, and I've watched Garrett Stevenson, and I've watched Woody Williams, and I've watched Tom Glavine on certain nights, guys with below-average stuff go out there and just carve a team up like a Christmas turkey. So really, unless you have command, and command basically is throwing the ball where you're aiming. And if you can do that and you have a plan, you have a much higher chance of success if you have that kind of command than if you have just great stuff and don't know where it's going.
3-2 breaking ball is chopped to the shortstop. Bill Hawley throws on the run in time to get Ukilis at first base. So nothing doing for Scottsdale here in their half of the fourth inning. No runs on 1 hit, no men left on base. We've played 4 innings here in Tucson. It's Scottsdale 3, Maryvale 1, as you're listening to Arizona Fall League coverage live on Major League Baseball Radio.
Last season, the Major Leagues produced 5,683 home runs, 2,924 stolen bases, and 31,356 strikeouts. We also motivated thousands of students to further their education through after-school programs. And over the years, we have built and refurbished numerous ball fields in communities all over the country. Apparently, not all the important stats are the box score. Major League Baseball charities. Consider.
Your grandparents came here.
The long drive, and it's a home run for Joe DiMaggio.
Your parents came here.
Here comes Roger Maris in the score, and the Taylor pulling the second with the double.
Now it's your turn.
Number 3,000 for one of the great players of all time, George Brett.
Cooperstown, New York, a tradition of excellence for 7 decades. Be a part of it. For information, call 1-888-HALL of Fame.
Water here since I got here.
Victor Rojas, Ed Lynch with you from the University of Arizona at Sancet Field, home of the Wildcats in Tucson. Scorpions leading it 3-1 over Maryvale. Bobby Jenks out there for another inning of work, and he's done a nice job, especially the last inning, the first time he retired the side in order. And speaking of Jenks, I have an email here from John in Southern California. And he writes, I've been keeping track of Bobby Jenks for a couple of years now and have seen him dominate and struggle at times, sometimes just in one game. It's good to see him doing well so far this winter, but I have a couple of questions about him. What's the miles per hour Jenks is consistently touching on the gun? And also, how has he been doing with off-the-field situations?
Well, the one thing you have to remember about Bobby Jenks, he's very young. I'll leave it at that. You know, we all make mistakes when we're young. I'm not familiar with any specific off-field problems that he's had. I know that he's blessed with an incredible arm, and I can tell you, I've been back there with the radar gun, and he is 94 to 99, and I've seen him throw 6 or 7 fastballs in a row from 96 to 99. So, you know, the velocity there's absolutely no question about the fact that he's just got a golden arm. And, you know, I think that with the progression of Francisco Rodriguez and their organization late in the year and John Lackey, you can see the impact that young arms can have on your organization, even when it comes to postseason play. So I think part of Bobby Jenks, deep in his soul, is saying, watching the postseason, seeing Francisco Rodriguez out there saying, you know what, that could have been me if I had just concentrated a little hard on my command and maybe done some of the things differently. But there's no doubt about the fact that this kid has just got an incredible arms, an incredible prospect, and 29 other clubs would die to have him.
2 balls and 1 strikes on the left fielder, D. Haynes, who leads it off for Maryvale in the top of the 5th inning. Breaking ball missed downstairs, 3 balls and 1 strike. Haynes 1 for 1, singled back in the 2nd inning, had an RBI that brought in John Gall. A 3-1 from Jenks. Fastball catches the outside corner. And the count is now full, 3 balls and 2 strikes.
You know, Walt Jocketty talked about D. Haynes, Victor, and let me tell you something. That Eastern League can be a tough hitters league, and he went out and hit .312 with 21 home runs and 98 RBIs, so he's a pretty good offensive player.
The 3-2 breaking ball is chopped high to the third baseman, Kevin Ukilis, who made a nice short hop play but couldn't get Haynes at first base, so he'll be on with a leadoff base hit. That area around home plate, at least the plate area, must be really hard with those high choppers we've seen today.
Well, I can tell you from spring training, there's one of the standard Arizona base hits you see in spring training and certainly in the Arizona Fall League is the first hop is about 2 inches in front of the plate. It hits, and the ball comes down up in shallow left field, and that's the first hop. So that's why the batting average is so high. Not only does the ball fly pretty good, we have light air, and we're at pretty high altitudes, but this ground can get very, very hard. The sun just bakes it like, almost like when you put a pot in an oven. I mean,
right.
It's like pottery, the infield. It's clay and it's baking. So, the ball can run through there pretty good on the infield. So it's a hitter's dream come true, the conditions here in Arizona.
Bill Hall steps in and takes a fastball inside for ball one. Nobody out in the top of the fifth inning. Runner on for Maryvale. Hall 0 for 1. He popped out to Ken Harvey, the first baseman, in foul territory his first time up. Sardina sets up inside the 1-0. Fastball cut on and fouled back. Count is even at 1 ball and 1 strike. Ed Ben from Somerset writes to us at radio@MLB.com. Do you think that Art Howe is a good fit for the Mets?
Oh, absolutely. I think Art, two of the things that Fred Wilpon talked about when he was looking for a manager, someone who had major league experience and someone who had success at the major league level. And you couldn't ask for a better guy. And I know that Lou Piniella was in the mix there, but I don't want to call Art a fallback position, but let me tell you, he is a quality person. He's an outstanding manager. Probably didn't get as much credit out in Oakland as he deserved. Everybody thinks it's easy to win with talent, but sometimes that's the hardest task of all, is to win when people expect you to win. So I think he's an outstanding choice for the Mets, and I look for big things from Art Howe.
The 2-1 to Hall is looped in the air down the right field side and finds its way into the seats. So count even to 2 balls and 2 strikes. Top of the fifth inning, Scottsdale leading Maryvale 3-1. And nothing like a foul ball to get the crowd going here in Tucson.
It's the loudest cheer we've heard all day, Victor.
3 runs, 7 hits for Scottsdale, 1 run on 5 hits for Maryvale. Jenks working from the stretch. The 2-2, breaking ball swung on and missed. 1 hop to catcher Sardina, but Hall goes down for the first out.
Well, there's that curveball. It's about a 60 or 58-foot curveball, and that thing breaks sharp and it breaks late. And when it comes out of his hand, you have in the back of your mind that he can throw the ball by you, so you got to get everything going. And that's what makes guys like Barry Bonds such a great hitter. And he can stay back, he can wait, he can recognize the pitch, and he can still be quick enough to hit it. So mortal human beings have a very difficult time with a guy like Bobby Jenks, especially if he's getting his curveball over early in the count.
Russ Jacobson, the catcher, the number 9 batter, steps in as Jenks throws over to first base. Haynes back easily. Right-hander Adrian Hernandez of the Yankees organization is warming up down the right field line. Looks like he might be coming in the ball game for Maryvale. Jenks comes set, and the first pitch to Jacobson looped in the air to left center field. Over goes Haynes. He dives, can't make the grab. Around second base goes Haynes. He'll head to third base as James, the left fielder, backed up and got the ball back into the infield to hold Jacobson at first base. So Maryvale now with runners at first and third base.
Well, one thing that Nathan Haynes has shown out here is just outstanding range, and he really got himself in a position where he could have caught the ball. He dove, and as so often happens when these guys leave their feet, they kind of lose sight of the ball for a second. It looks like the ball might have hit him on the heel of the glove, but just an outstanding effort, and just to get to that ball shows just great range by Nathan Haynes in center field.
So Maryvale down by 2 runs, threatening here with runners at the corners. Nobody warming up for Scottsdale. Jenks has been rather efficient in today's ball game. As the leadoff man, Joe Thurston, second baseman from the Dodgers organization, steps in. 1 out now. Jenks steps off. And we did receive word that Barry Bonds was named the National League Most Valuable Player.
Well, I didn't want to jump the gun because Walt Jocketty had said, I think, that Albert Pujols finished second in the vote, so I'm sure they announced number 1 before they announced number 2.
You think? Good breaking ball in there by Jenks for strike 1. Well deserved. I don't think that's a surprise to anybody.
Just the performance that he put on in the second half of the season and in the playoffs was just unbelievable. He never missed his pitch when it was in the zone.
0-1 breaking ball in there again. And Thurston in the hole at 0-2. Thurston 0 for 2 today. He's popped out and struck out. Has an opportunity here for an RBI. Jenks comes set, the 0-2. Another curveball slapped into right field for a base hit. In comes Haynes. He'll score easily. An RBI base hit by Joe Thurston on not a very good pitch by Bobby Jenks.
Well, that's been part of Bobby's problem. You know, he had 0-2 right there. There was about 7 different pitches he could have thrown. All of them probably down in the zone would have been best, or hard up in the zone. And unfortunately, he hung a curveball 0-2, and to Joe Thurston's credit, he didn't let it go by. He jumped on it. If he took it, it was probably going to be a ball, but he saw a pitch he could handle and drove it into right field for a base hit to drive in a run.
3-2 Scottsdale now, top of the 5th inning. As time is called, pitching coach Larry Carter will come out and talk to Jenks. Still no action in the left field bullpen. Larry Carter out of the Kansas City Royals organization. Maryvale now with runners at first and second base. Still only one out, and so Taguchi will be the batter as the home plate umpire Casey Moser will go and break up the rock pile. As a reminder, we'll be back at it again tomorrow at 2:15 Arizona time. That's 4:15 on the East Coast. And we'll be back here at Tucson as Grand Canyon will take on Mesa. And we wrap up our coverage, at least down here in Tucson, on Wednesday with Peoria taking on Phoenix. Jenks comes set. First pitch to Taguchi. Fastball on the outside corner for strike one. Taguchi, 1 for 2, singled in the first inning, grounded into a fielder's choice in the third. Hall, Jacobson on at second base. Thurston on at first base. And Taguchi is in the hole at 0-2. How much damage I could be doing on a golf course right now? The 0-2 from Jenks. Fastball, high chopper over the middle. The shortstop Olsen backs up, flips over to Cada for the force out at second base. The only play they really had.
Well, Tim Olsen did the right thing there. He realized he was not going to get a double play. He got his feet in position not to throw the ball to first base, but to shovel the ball to second base and at least get an out there and give Bobby Jenks to get out of this without further damage. So a good fundamentally sound play right there by Tim Olsen. What as I talked about earlier, the Arizona Diamondbacks have done a good job in their minor league system of teaching their players, you know, when to be brave and when to be smart. And that was a situation where Tim Olsen was smart and got the lead runner at second base.
2 outs now at the top of the 5th inning. Runners at the corners. As Termel Sledge, the right fielder, steps in. Sledge 0 for 2. He's grounded into a double play and popped out in foul territory to third base. First pitch from Jenks, fastball upstairs for ball one. Taguchi will run at first base. 6 bags in this Arizona Fall League. Drew Henson awaits on deck. The right-hander delivers a 1-0. Base hit up the middle. In comes Jacobson from third base. Taguchi rounds second. He'll head to third base easily on the RBI base hit by Sledge, knotting this ball game up at 3 runs apiece.
From the New York Yankees,
good piece of hitting by Taguchi.
Drew Henson.
And Maryvale's back in this ball game. So Drew Henson will get an opportunity now, with runners at the corners once again. 17th RBI for Sledge in this Arizona Fall League. Henson 0 for 2. He's grounded out to second, struck out swinging his last time up. Jenks with a long look in to home plate. Dane Sardina sets up outside. First pitch to Henson. Breaking ball swung on and missed. And that was a breaking ball that bounced about 3 feet in front of the plate.
Well, that's the situation there, as I said earlier. When you throw as hard as Bobby Jenks, that hitter sometimes goes up there in his mind looking fastball and saying, I'm not going to let this ball get by me. And they start their swing, and whoops, it gets halfway there. They realize it's a breaking ball. And that one, as you said, Victor, bounced about 3 feet in front of the plate, and he missed it by about 5 feet.
The 1-1 to Henson. Fastball swung on and missed. And Henson in the hole now, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Drew tied for the team lead in home runs with 3. Sledge and Hart also have 3 for the Saguaros. That was my Spanish in me. Scottsdale, Scorpions, Maryvale, Saguaros. I like that. Two runs in for Maryvale. Tie ball game in the top of the 5th inning. Jenks gets his side, comes set. He'll check the runners, both at the corners. The 0-2 to Henson. Fastball lifted in the air to right center field. Back goes Sharon near the warning track. Still running. Makes the grab for the 3rd out. But Maryvale strikes here in the 5th inning with 2 runs on 4 hits. 2 men left on base. We're heading to the bottom of the 5th inning. Tie ball game, 3-3, as you're listening to Arizona Fall League coverage live on Major League Baseball Radio.
I'm Derek Jeter. When I was growing up, my parents and I would go to the schoolyard every weekend and play ball. They teach me how if I practiced and didn't give up, my swing could get better. But if I got in front of the ball and wasn't afraid, I could stop it. But there weren't any shortcuts to becoming a better player. But if I believed in myself, I could do it. Funny, all that time, I thought they were teaching me how to play baseball.
Helping your kids find a dream can help keep them off drugs. This message brought to you by Partnership for Drug-Free America. Visit us at drugfreeamerica.org.
Just to realize how important baseball is to a lot of people, and to see them come in with their kids, and you look around and you see the enthusiasm they have here, and it makes you say, well, hey, baseball been here for 100 years and it's still going strong.
Relive your fondest memories of Brooks Robinson and see his Hall of Fame plaque at the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, New York. For more information, visit us on the web at baseballhalloffame.org or call 888 Hall of Fame.
Welcome back out to Tucson, Arizona. Arizona Fall League coverage live from Major League Baseball Radio, brought to you by Major League Baseball Radio. We'll be bringing you 9 games over the next 2 weeks, including the championship ball game a week from this coming Saturday. That would be November 24th. It'll be the championship game up in the Phoenix area. Victor Rojas, Ed Lynch with you, as Maryvale has decided to make a pitching change. Out goes Cheyenne Janke, and in comes the right-hander from the New York Yankees organization, Adrian Hernandez.
Well, if there's any doubt as to whether he's related to El Duque, his first pitch ended all doubt with that windup. It's an exact replica of El Duque, so I guess he learned from his big brother or cousin, whatever the relation is.
I believe it's a brother, El Duquecito, what they call him. Hernandez 1-0 with a 1.93 earned run average, making an appearance in his 11th ball game, 18 2/3 innings, 8 hits, 4 runs, all earned, 9 strikeouts, and 2 walks. Opposing hitters hitting just $127 against him. They'll be facing 9-1-2 for Scottsdale. Kenny James, Sean Figgins, and Nathan Haynes. Arizona Fall League made up of 6 teams, all playing in the Phoenix metropolitan area. And each Major League ball club contributes 6 players to the team. So, for example, as soon as I find it here, Maryvale has representatives from the Baltimore Orioles, Milwaukee Brewers, Montreal Expos, New York Yankees, and St. Louis Cardinals. Scottsdale, on the other hand, has representatives from the Anaheim Angels, Arizona Diamondbacks, Boston Red Sox, Cincinnati Reds, and the Kansas City Royals.
As we talked about earlier, Victor, we'd like this to be a development league for your minor league players who are on the verge of the big league, so you really are only allowed 1 player who has not played at the AA or above level, just to give your best young A-ball guy, who may be a little bit ahead of the curve, a chance to compete against older players. And You have to be on a AAA or AA roster by no later than July 28th. So, as we said earlier, too, this is for basically our American players. We try to respect the fact that the Caribbean Confederation and Australian Winter League have their major leagues over there, but we're allowed to have one player from the foreign country as long as they're not participating in those leagues.
1-2, slow number up the third base line. Drew Henson, nice play, but not in time as James can fly down that line. Henson scooped it up and ended up on his stomach after he threw the ball. Now he's got to go back and see. That's good golf etiquette right there, replacing a divot. Oh, no, he dropped his sunglasses. I'm sorry. Thought he was replacing the divot. So James on board with a leadoff infield hit for Scottsdale, and that takes us back to the top of the order as Sean Figgins steps up with nobody out and a man on at first base.
Well, Drew Henson showed some surprising agility for a man his size, and one of the plays you have to make as a third base is we call a slow roller play, and that's what that was. You have to be able to come in, scoop the ball barehanded, make a good, strong throw to first base. He did just that, but Kenny James runs too well and was able to beat it out.
Figgins, a switch hitter, batting from the left side against the right-hander Hernandez. Takes the fastball down and in for ball one. James will go. 7 stolen bases, leads the Scottsdale Scorpions club, as they are second in the Arizona Fall League with 32 stolen bases on the year. And Adrian Hernandez is of no relation to El Duque.
Oh, you're kidding.
We've just gotten clarification.
Well, you ought to sue him for stealing his delivery.
Should trademark that delivery. I have an email here from Bleacher Dave, who writes to us at radio at MLB.com. I'm not going to read it in its entirety. What I'll do is I'll just take bits and pieces of it. It's about the Billy Beane situation and the Boston Red Sox. Yes, he's going. No, he's not going. Kind of an odd situation, isn't it?
Yeah.
I should say the circumstances, how they unfolded.
Sure, yeah. I mean, Billy's done just a terrific job out in Oakland, signed a very, very long-term contract, and then less than a year later, there's talk of him going to another club. And if I was Billy Beane, I'm not going to speak for Billy, but I'd like to see the fruit of my hard labor, run the course. And he's certainly done a fabulous job in Oakland, and probably wants to see them continue to win. Here's a club that goes out and wins 100 games, it seems like, every year, and unfortunately, he's been unable to get over the first hump postseason-wise, but I'm sure Billy feels that there's some unfinished business in Oakland. I think that a lot of people, if you ask 10 people, did they get beat by better teams in the postseason? I would think half would say no, half would say yes, but the bottom line is that he's got a good enough club to win a World Series, and I think that's what he's after. He wants to see that team just complete the trip.
3 balls and 1 strike now on Figgins. James started on that pitch, but held up. 3 balls and 1 strike. Nobody out. Bottom of the 5th inning. Tie ball game 3-3. Henson in a couple of steps on the grass at third base. Hernandez gets his sign and comes set. James dives back in as Hernandez flips over to first base. No serious tag applied by John Gall. Good opportunity to get the runner in motion here as Hernandez comes set. Another snapped over to first base. This one a little bit closer. But James is able to dive back underneath the tag. 3 runs on 8 hits for Maryvale. 3 runs on 8 hits for Scottsdale. There goes James. The 3-1's lifted in the air to left field. Over is Haynes. He moves over towards the line, makes the grab for the first out as James heads back over to first base.
From the Anaheim Angels,
so that'll bring up Nathan Haynes, the center fielder.
Well, that's a situation, as we talked about earlier, playing the little man's game and trying to keep the ball out of the air. In that situation, you've got speed on first base. He's running on the pitch. The best thing to do there is probably to hit a hard ground ball to the right side. Unfortunately, Chone was unable to do that and hit a lazy fly ball to left field, and those more often than not are going to get caught, and it's hard to utilize your speed on lazy fly balls to left field. So, it's important that these young guys who play the little man's game try to hit the ball on the ground and try to utilize their speed as much as they can.
Haynes chops one foul down the right field side. 0-1. Haynes 0 for 2 is grounded out to the first baseman and flown out to center field. It's a funny atmosphere where general managers go, agents tend to follow.
Jeez, why is that?
Same proximity. Throw over by Hernandez. James back in easily again.
Well, I think we're setting some sort of record here today. The most cell phones I've ever seen at a baseball game, because obviously these GMs are constantly have to communicate with people, and people calling them agents. Your staff, even though it's the off season. I mean, it's a 7-day-a-week, 24-hour-a-day, 12-month-a-year job. So a lot of work to be done this time of year, and this is when guys go to work. A lot of people call it the off season. Maybe it is for the players, but it's the on season for your general managers trying to evaluate what you have and build your club for the following season.
Hernandez comes set. There goes James. The 0-1 is swung on and missed. No throw by the catcher, Jacobson. So James has his 8th stolen base of the Arizona Fall League.
Well, unfortunately, one of the byproducts of that El Duque windup that Adrian is practicing is that he's fairly slow to the plate, and Jacobson really had no chance of throwing out Kenny James at second base. He just got a tremendous jump off the first base and stole the base easily with no throw.
So Scottsdale now with a runner in scoring position, 0-2 count on Nathan Haynes. Pickoff attempt at second base, and James back easily. Bill Hall had to work to keep that ball in the infield. Shortstop coming in behind James. Jacobson, the catcher, out to the mound to talk to Hernandez a little bit. Heads back behind the dish. Action in the Maryvale bullpen down the right field line. Hernandez gets his sign, comes set. He'll check James at second base. The 0-2, fastball away. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Seems like all of a sudden wind has picked up a little bit. Hernandez set again, the 1-2, off speed upstairs, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
One thing about the desert, when you're in the direct sunlight, it's rather warm, but when that sun goes away, it cools off in a hurry. The ground doesn't hold the heat too well, and it can get a little chilly. So it certainly cooled off, and as you said, the wind has picked up a little bit.
Two balls and 2 strikes now. The breaking ball's ripped down the right field side, but hooks foul. Hernandez hung that breaking ball. Haynes turned on it. So 2 balls and 2 strikes. The count remains as James heads back to second base. Hernandez takes a look at James again, swinging on the breaking ball. Haynes goes down for out number 2. Good hard breaking ball underneath the hand. So Tim Olson out of the Arizona Diamondbacks organization, the shortstop, steps up with 2 outs. A man on at second base. 3-3 ball game, bottom of the 5th inning. It seemed, correct me if I'm wrong, Ed, that we kind of slowed down a little bit. We're kind of cruising the first 4 innings.
Yeah, we sure were. And Adrian's taking a little more time. He's nibbling a little bit, throwing over the bases a little more.
Breaking ball is ripped to the shortstop, Bill Hall. One hops him, handcuffs him, goes back, being waved around as James. The throw to home plate is in time, so James gunned down. Janke, the third base coach and manager of the Scottsdale Scorpions, just waving him around with 2 outs. So nothing doing for Scottsdale as James gets gunned down at the plate to end the inning. No runs on 1 hit. 1 man left on base. We've played 5 innings, and as we head to the top of the 6th inning, we're tied up at 3 runs apiece as you're listening to Arizona Fall League coverage on Major League Baseball Radio.
We've got bandits at 1 o'clock. Lights on. Engaging now.
What kind of person can handle an F-16 dueling in a Mach-speed dogfight? Why, a math teacher, of course, when she's in the National Guard and Reserve. Nearly half of today's military are members of the Guard and Reserve, but they can't do it without their employer support. If you're an employer, visit www.esgr.org and learn how to do your part. After all, their response depends on yours. A public service message from ESGR and the Ad Council.
Your grandparents came here.
The long drive, and it's a home run for Joe DiMaggio.
Your parents. game here.
Here comes Roger Maris in the slow end. Takeda pulling the second with a double.
Now it's your turn.
Number 3,000 for one of the great players of all time, George Brett.
Cooperstown, New York, a tradition of excellence for 7 decades. Be a part of it. For information, call 1-888-HALL-OF-FAME.
Welcome back to Sancet Field here in the campus of the University of Arizona in Tucson. It's Scottsdale, the home team, facing Maryvale. 3-3 ball game as we head to the top of the 6th inning. Bobby Jenks, the starter for Scottsdale, out there for another inning of work. Victor Rojas and Ed Lynch bringing you the coverage live on Major League Baseball radios. We will be back at it again tomorrow at 4 o'clock Eastern Time, as we'll watch Grand Canyon take on Mesa tomorrow afternoon here in Tucson. And most of the games in the Arizona Fall League are played in that Phoenix metropolitan area, but because the Major League Baseball General Managers meeting got underway this morning here in Tucson, Arizona Fall League and the Tucson Sidewinders have collaborated to put this effort on. And I better not leave out the University of Arizona as well, because the field looks absolutely perfect. For this time of year, anyway.
Well, I was talking to Steve Cobb earlier, and I know there was some talk about going over to High Corbett, the spring training home of the Colorado Rockies, but evidently they're undergoing some sort of renovation, and they're behind schedule, so we're lucky to get a facility of this quality for these players to play on. As you said, Victor, it's just a beautiful facility. I have not had the pleasure of being on this campus before, but it's a very nice downtown kind of campus with a campus feel to it, and just a beautiful facility, and they've had great success at this university athletically. Not only their baseball team, but their basketball and football team. Very good. So it seems like a very nice facility here and a very nice university setting.
Speaking of the university setting, you got the grounds crew out there raking up the field as if we needed some more help in slowing the game down a little bit, just in case we weren't sure. Bobby Jenks is ready to go. Slams that rosin bag into the ground. Coming up for Maryville will be Corey Hart, John Cole, and D. Haynes. 3-3 ball game. And you got everybody out here, from reporters to Peter Gammons. I mean, no offense to Peter Gammons when I said reporters and then Peter Gammons. Alan Schwartz from Baseball America.
Yeah, I've seen general managers, assistant general managers, team councils, and special assistants. I mean, it's a reunion here of the executive branch of Major League Baseball and the media and broadcast media. So certainly an interesting day out here today, and it's a good showcase for some of these players.
So they don't limit it just to general managers. They'll bring a contingency on.
Oh yeah, a lot of people bring a contingent of several people, and sometimes you'll bring your top scouts. Not a lot happens trade-wise in my experience in these meetings, but it's certainly a good time to set the groundwork for the winter meetings in Nashville in December.
Corey Hart leads it off as he bloops one into right center field for a base hit. 9th hit of the ball game for Maryvale. And that'll bring up the first baseman, John Gall of the Cardinals organization. Action now in the Scottsdale Scorpions bullpen down the left field line. There's also action down the right field line for Maryvale. It looks as if Kevin Joseph is warming up for Maryvale out of the St. Louis Cardinals organization. As Gall fouls one down the right field line and out of play for strike one. Gall's 1 for 2 today. He had a double and a run scored. He's also flown out to left field. Bats from the right side. Not a big guy, 6 feet, 195 pounds. This one in the air into center field. Haynes holds up a little bit, now moves over to his right, makes the grab for the first out. And by the process of elimination, Ed, it looks like it could be either Charles Weatherby or Marty McCleary warming up for Scottsdale.
Well, we don't have the greatest view here. We have some fence in between us and
Red Sox shooting.
Yeah, Red Sox shooting, that's evident. So I'm going to take your word for it.
Well, I would say it's Rolando Vieira, but he's left-handed. So at least we got that down. D. Haynes, the left fielder, steps in, takes a breaking ball in there for strike one. Haynes bats from the right side. He's 2 for 2 today, 2 singles. Has an RBI and a run scored. Hard on at first base with 1 out. Jenks working from the stretch. The right-hander kicks. And the 0-1. Ground ball to the shortstop. Olsen flips over to Cada for 1. On to first base in time for the inning-ending double play. And boy, we like those. So nothing doing for Maryvale. Leadoff base hit by Corey Harness erased on the inning-ending double play by D. Haynes. No runs on 1 hit. No men left on base. We're heading to the bottom of the 6th inning. Tie ball game. Maryvale 3, Scottsdale 3 as you're listening to Arizona Fall League coverage on Major League Baseball Radio.
My son had a problem. He was bored at his public school. So I helped change it into a new kind of school. One with a curriculum that really motivates kids. A school that has extended hours, 6 days a week year-round, filled with loads of academic, cultural, and recreational activities. One with medical, dental, and eye care right there, where parents are encouraged to be involved at all levels, as early as possible. A school where teachers have more time to teach, and students are excited about learning. But now there's another problem. He's having so much fun, he doesn't want to leave school. You can turn your public school into a community school for excellence. Find out how. Call 1-877-LOVE-TO-LEARN and get the information you need to get started.
A message from the Children's Aid Society, the Coalition for Community Schools, and the Ad Council.
Welcome back out to the campus of the University of Arizona. Scottsdale hosting Maryvale here in the Arizona Fall League coverage of 2002. Tie ball game as we head to the bottom of the 6th inning. Pitching change for Maryvale as the right-hander Kevin Joseph out of the St. Louis Cardinals organization makes his way in relief of Adrian Hernandez. Joseph so far in this Arizona Fall League 0-1, 2.87 earned run average. Seeing action in his 13th ball game today. He does have a save, 15 2/3 innings, 21 hits, 9 runs, 5 earned. He has struck out 8 and walked 7 opposing hitters, hitting .339 against him. He'll be facing 4, 5, and 6 for Scottsdale here in the 6th inning. Ken Harvey, the first baseman, leads it off for Scottsdale. Harvey 1 for 2 on the afternoon. RBI double in the first inning, grounded out to third in the 3rd inning. First pitch fastball ripped down the left field line. That falls in there for a base hit. Harvey rounds first. Will hold up right there with a leadoff base hit. Second hit of the afternoon for him as he continues to swing a hot bat.
Well, it's been pretty evident from what I've seen that pitchers are trying to pitch him in now, and he's made the adjustment on that pitch there. Was probably off the plate a little bit, and he was ready for it and turned it a line drive to left field.
Nobody out, men on at first base, and it's the catcher Dane Sardina of the Cincinnati Reds organization stepping in. Mentioned Joseph out of the Cardinals organization, 6'4", 200 pounds, out of Camp Hill, Pennsylvania. And you talk about Ken Harvey, this guy could pretty much shatter the majority of the Arizona Fall League offensive records.
Well, it just seems even his outs are hit hard. And, it's just been unbelievable on a daily basis. It's 2 or 3 hits a game. And I guess if you're going to hit 600, you got to get about 2 or 3 hits every game.
Yeah, he cooled down a little bit over his last 10 games. He hit only 480. So he's struggling. He's trying to find his stroke again.
Well, he's battling through the slump and trying to find his stroke again. So,
and that's what this league is all about. You got to find your way back into it. Breaking ball swung on and missed by Sardina. He's in the hole at 0-2. And it looks as if Jacobson might have been crossed up on the pitch as he went out and talked to his pitcher, Joseph. Sardina 1 for 2, base hit, and an RBI in that first inning. And he also struck out swinging in the 3rd. Joseph comes set, the 0-2, breaking ball swung on and missed. And Sardina goes down for out number 1.
Well, Kevin Joseph is one of these guys that young hitters are going to have to learn to hit as they come up the ladder on their way to the big leagues. Here's a guy who's 26 years old, has a couple of years at AAA, has been around. It seems like he has a pretty good idea, can throw his breaking ball over the plate, and, you know, you're just going to have to, when he does make a mistake, you're going to have to hit it hard. And it's a challenge for some of these younger hitters who haven't seen a crafty pitcher like this before and who knows how to pitch and probably has been watching him enough to know what their weakness is and tries to exploit it.
Matt Cada takes the breaking ball downstairs for ball 1. 1 ball and no strikes. Ken Harvey on at first base led off the bottom of the 6th inning with a base hit. Tie ball game 3-3. Joseph's 1-0. Breaking ball outside. 2 balls and no strikes. Joseph sets 2-0. High chopper to the right side. The second baseman, Thurston, scoops it up. His only plays to first base as Cada is thrown out 4-3 for the second out. Not much you can do on that play. Another high bouncer.
Just try to get it out, and Thurston made the right play. Didn't try to do too much with it. Didn't look towards the lead runner. Had no chance there. Made sure he caught the ball. Made a quick flip to the first baseman, and was able to get the second out of the inning.
Ken Harvey moves over into scoring position at second base, as it'll be Justin Sherrod, the right fielder, stepping in, taking a fastball in there for strike 1. Sherrod 0 for 2 on the afternoon. He's grounded to short, struck out swinging. Came in hitting .277 during this Arizona Fall League. The 0-1 from Joseph. Breaking ball gets away from the catcher Jacobson, goes all the way to the backstop, and Harvey will, should we say, motor into third base?
Chugs into third base.
Chugs into third base. Count even at 1 ball and 1 strike. Oh, you know what? Last half inning, I said goodnight, everybody, when I saw the crowd leaving. They just left the shade and went down the third base line. Stay in that sunshine. Stay warm. Joseph sets the 1-1. Fastball cut on and missed. 1 ball and 2 strikes now, and Justin Sherrod out of the Boston Red Sox organization.
Well, Justin has shown himself to be a pretty good tool player. He's got one of the best arms in this league and he's got some raw power.
Fastball cut on and missed. Couldn't catch up to that pitch. Sorry to cut you off. So 2 strikeouts for Joseph in this inning as he comes in relief. Gives up the leadoff base hit to Ken Harvey. He's stranded at third base. No runs on 1 hit. 1 man left on base. We've played 6 innings and we stay tied. 3 runs apiece as you're listening to Arizona Fall League coverage live on Major League Baseball Radio.
What's an American tradition? Baseball? Maybe. Apple pie? Sometimes. Bacon fat on toast? Definitely. When the cupboard's empty and chicken, beef, fish, and fresh vegetables are nowhere to be found, bacon fat on toast is hot and it's cheap. And it's almost as good as a real dinner. Simply take that old tin of bacon drippings you've been storing away and spread some over hot toast. Suddenly your discarded leftovers are transformed into a hot meal that can fill up your whole family. All across America, people just like you are sitting down to bacon fat on toast. When you're hungry, it's the sensible thing to do.
Unfortunately, bacon fat on toast is more popular than you'd think. Right now, 1 out of 5 American children is living with hunger as their parents struggle to make ends meet. Please call 1-800-FEED-KIDS and find out how you can fight child hunger. The sooner you believe it, the sooner we can end it. Brought to you by the Ad Council, America's Second Harvest, and Feeding Children Better.
Welcome back to Sancet Field as Major League Baseball Radio's coverage of the 2002 Arizona Fall League continues. Tommy Jenks out there for another inning of work. Tie ball game as we head to the top of the 7th inning. 3-3. 3 runs on 9 hits. No errors for Maryvale. 3 runs on 10 hits. No errors for the Scottsdale Scorpions. Big hole on that mound on the landing foot area in there.
Yeah, there sure is, and that could be a problem unless it's your hole and you feel comfortable with it. But we were talking between innings. Bobby Jenks, if he can be economical with his pitches, go out there and throw strikes, he could be out on the mound longer and longer. And that's one thing young pitchers have to understand is, if you have a pitch limit, 100 pitches, 110 pitches, 120 pitches, you want to try to stuff as many innings as you can into those 120 pitches that you have and give your chance to win ball games. I know we had a little problem with Kerry Wood early in his career. He'd go out and he'd walk 5 and strike out 15. He'd have 120 pitches in 5 innings. So Bobby's done a good job of using his pitches economically today, and there he is out here in the 7th inning, out in the game. So it's probably unfamiliar territory for a lot of pitchers, starting pitchers in this league, to be out on the mound in the 7th inning.
Bill Hall leads it off for Maryvale here in the 7th. Fouls one back in the hole at 0-1. Hall so far today, he's 0 for 2. He's popped out to the first baseman and struck out swinging. Jenks is 0-1. Fastball catches the outside corner for strike 2.
The thing about Bobby Jenks, too, he makes it look easy. I mean, if you're sitting up here watching and you're thinking, well, he's throwing 80, 89 to 91, you go down there with a radar gun, he's 94 to 98. So it's easy and it's hard.
And then he drops that 0-2 hammer he just dropped on Billy Hall as Hall goes down swinging for the first out. Second strikeout for Hall, I should say, in today's ball game, and that'll bring up Russ Jacobson, the catcher, with 1 out in the 7th.
The decision that has to be made on Bobby Jenks, as we talked about earlier, is he a starter or is he a reliever? He's one of those rare guys that has the stuff to be a quality major league starting pitcher, but he also has the stuff to be a quality closer. I mean, this guy has stuff that's pretty comparable on paper to Troy Percival. So if there's a decision to be made, and Bobby Jenks might make that decision for him based on how he performs. Is he able to be consistent with strikes? Is he able to be consistent over the course of a ball game?
1-0 to Jacobson, a fastball in there for called strike. Count even at 1 ball and 1 strike. And Ed, we wouldn't be here had it not been for the foresight, the leadership, and I don't know what else to say.
It's getting deep in here.
The executive director of the Arizona Fall League, Steve Cobb, joins us. This is kind of a show you guys have to put on here.
It's been a lot of fun today, just watching all the pieces come together, and certainly to see the baseball community respond like it has with the general managers and all the key player personnel being here.
How much of an effort is it to coordinate everything? Your organization, the university, the Tucson Sidewinders, to get everything in place for the next 3 days?
Yeah, there's a few hands in the hopper, and but that makes it a challenge. I keep looking at it saying, with all due respect, we're putting on a game here, but we have 2 games up in Phoenix going on at the same time, and same thing will apply Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So, yeah, it's a challenge, but, it's been a nice partnership with the University of Arizona and with the Tucson Sidewinders.
Well, I can tell you, Steve, as a former general manager, we're in this game because we love the game of baseball. We like to watch our players perform, and the fact that you're able to move some of the games down here to this venue and give people a chance to get out and see their players and interact with each other in a baseball setting is really a big plus, especially for these guys that are locked in that office an awful lot this time of year. So I congratulate you. It's just gone very smooth, as the entire league has gone this entire year. It's just games start on time. The players are ready to play. The fields are in good shape. It's just a great environment for a young player to continue to develop.
Well, thank you very much. That we'd like to pride ourselves, after this being the 11th year, that that the Arizona Fall League has become an integral part of the player development process for most of the organizations, and to have grown to this point, that's very rewarding for us.
Jacobson drew a walk, first walk issued by Bobby Jenks on the afternoon. So he'll work from the stretch. And the first pitch fastball upstairs for ball 1.
I was sitting here and listening to both of you, and the one thing that's really coming to mind is watching Bobby Jenks today, and a year ago, Francisco Rodriguez was in the league, and he pitched 7 to 10 ball games briefly, but no one could hit him, last year, and then a year later, obviously, he had just an outstanding World Series, and I certainly don't want to jinx Bobby Jenks, but that kind of arm is special.
Oh,
You're very aware of that as a former big league pitcher, that this guy, he just has something special.
Mike Fontenot of the Baltimore Orioles organization, pinch hitting for Joe Thurston.
And
on top 1 and 2. I'm sorry.
No, my fault. On top of it, we're just now starting to get some shadows coming in, so that's not a. I wouldn't want to be a hitter up there.
Yeah, 100-mile-an-hour cheddar. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Fontenot. Fastball missing away. Count even to 2 balls and 2 strikes. I asked this of Walt Jocketty we had on a couple of innings ago. Have you seen any surprises in the last couple of years? Guys that have gone on to the major leagues and had some success. Anybody just take you by like, oh my gosh, I never thought this guy would be that successful up there?
No, I think I'd rather focus on the guys that the guys like Darren Erstad that everybody could see, and I could see it. My background is not development. I certainly have an appreciation for it, but there's really no one coming to mind. I mean, to me, there's an awful lot of guys in this league that are in the middle of the pack, and they differentiate themselves over the course of an 8 to 10 week period here. And to me, that's the beauty of it, where you just get guys that just emerge, and they are ready, and they're a championship type player, and they might be a role player in the major leagues or whatever, but whatever it took to get to the major leagues.
Well, Steve, I can tell you I've been around this league a whole lot the last 2 or 3 years, and I see a subtle raise in attendance and interest. And I can tell you, if I'm a high school player or if I'm a 12 or 15-year-old kid and I have a chance to come out in these beautiful settings and see players on the verge of getting to the major leagues, this would be a dream come true for me. And I'm seeing more and more young people at our games, especially the night games, weekend games. So I think it's a credit to you and your staff. I think the word is getting out. I mean, these are the best young players in the game. And somewhere out here there's an Albert Pujols, or there's a Derek Jeter, or there's a Nomar Garcia-Parra, and there's a future major league star, and you're seeing him at really the crossroads of his career.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Thank you for your kind comments. We've been trying to promote the league, given our budget and everything, but these are, it's easy to, after the time that I spend here to feel good about it, but the truth is that the organizations deserve the credit. They're the ones that have sent their better prospects, and when you start to have the kind of numbers that we've had over the years, I mean, that's not by chance. That happens because the organizations believe in the system, and they know, in fact, that their assets are going to be protected here, that they're not going to, there's no gray area in terms of the player development process.
Oh, absolutely, because I can tell you that, sending your best American players to Mexico, to Venezuela, the Dominican Republic, to Puerto Rico, it's obviously an honor for them, and it's a good way for them to develop. But as you said, you feel a little uneasy, especially with your pitchers, when you're sending them down there where all the focus is on winning at any cost. And there's much more of a comfort zone if you're sending a quality young player, maybe who's had some injury problems, and you want him to work in a good environment with the proper instruction. I'm not trying to knock anybody, but this is probably a more controlled environment where you feel a little more comfortable about the development of your young players.
Yeah, and I think that's really important. This is an opportunity for a player. Most players are sent here, there's a certain part of their game they need to work on. If they're a pitcher, they need to work on a pitch or two. And this is the opportunity to do that. And while we want these guys to, prepare to win, and it's certainly competitive, winning at all costs, that's not what this is about. This is about developing players and knowing that you're going to be here for the duration and have the opportunity to improve, to get the ground balls, to work on the pivot, to work on that third pitch. That's what makes this so unique. That there isn't the pressure that to win, because frankly, in those other leagues that you mentioned, if you can make a team and that's great, but if you don't win, you're gone.
One of the things that I was surprised about before I came out here from the East Coast was the attendance. And to me, I liken this more like a spring training type of atmosphere where players are so accessible. These are guys that are, Eric Hinsky was here last year. He's Rookie of the Year this year. Albert Pujols 2 years ago, same situation. You would think that people would want to come down here just to get a glimmer, or at least see these guys right before they make that next step.
Well, like I said, our base is growing. It's not growing at a rapid rate, but it is improving every year. So we feel like we're going in the right direction. And I look at this. This is the research and development of our industry, and this is the investment made by Major League Baseball. Do we want people in the stands? Absolutely, we do, and we're trying to put our effort there. But the number one thing is for the players to develop and for them to be monitored on a daily basis and have the accessibility to come in, and if you're a general manager, and be able to watch players for 2 or 3 days and just have a pulse on where they are in the process.
After the last strikeout, Bobby Jenks was removed from the ballgame. Marty McCleary, a right-hander out of the Boston Red Sox organization, in to replace him, and he's facing Brandon Watson, who's pinch hitting for Sota Gucci. And Watson lifts one in the air to left field. Over moves James, the left fielder, makes the grab for the third out. So nothing doing for Scottsdale here and there. I'm sorry, for Maryvale in their half of the seventh inning. It seemed like forever we were at the bottom of the seventh. Oh, no runs on no hits. One man left on base. As we take a moment on Veterans Day to honor America, take me out to the ball game as well. Steve, you're not going anywhere, are you?
No, we're standing up for God Bless America. I think that's what we got going here.
Step away for a moment as you're listening to Arizona Fall League coverage live on Major League Baseball Radio.
Yes, help tremendously.
From the Brooklyn Dodgers to the Los Angeles Dodgers, the Milwaukee Braves to the Atlanta Braves, from old school to new school, MLB.com Auctions has got you covered. Whether you're looking for Billy Williams or Bernie Williams, Sparky Anderson or Garrett Anderson, we've got memorabilia of your favorite players from yesterday, today, and tomorrow. So log on now to MLB.com Auctions and get your bids in on signed balls, hats, jerseys, bases, and much, much more. So bid her up and get your season off on the right foot with MLB.com Auctions now.
Hi, this is Ben Platt with MLB Radio.
This is Tommy Lasorda. Ben, I've known you for years. In fact, if I were to really express my feelings for you, I would say you are really a pain in the you-know-where.
Tommy, how can you say that about me?
But you may be the guy that even started that interview with Kingman.
What do you mean, Tommy? I was 12 years old.
Hey, Ben, I'm sick and tired. Don't interview me anymore, okay?
The Benny P. interview is exclusively on MLB Radio.
Welcome back to the University of Arizona, Sancet Field, as Arizona Fall League coverage continues here on Major League Baseball Radio. Victor Rojas and Ed Lynch, as we're joined by Executive Director of the Arizona Fall League, Steve Cobb. There's a pitching change for Maryvale as we head to the bottom of the seventh inning. And it is the right-hander out of the Milwaukee Brewers organization, Mike Adams.
Steve, let me ask you a question. When you see Derek Jeter running around a field, do you think of Derek Jeter, the New York Yankees superstar, or do you think about Derek Jeter, the young, skinny kid that played for, Chandler back in '94?
It's interesting you bring that up, Ed, because I really I do remember him as the shortstop of the Chandler Diamondbacks. Like I remember Nomar Garcia-Parra, the year that Michael Jordan played. You know, Nomar was a shortstop for, I think, almost every game, and most people
didn't notice him.
Baseball people certainly noticed him,
sure.
But the average fan, they were obviously there for Michael Jordan. But to answer your question, I remember them as Fall League players.
Kevin Youkilis flied out to center field to lead off the bottom of the seventh inning for Scottsdale as Kenny James, the left fielder, steps in now. With one out in the bottom of the seventh, tie ball game, 3-3. Shade coming in onto the field now, a little bit cooler now. I was telling Ed that I could be doing so much damage at a golf course right now. But you know what? I'll take this.
This is pretty nice right here.
I'm going to try my fare tomorrow morning at a 7 o'clock tea time and then roll in over here.
Good luck. You know, Steve, looking through the media guide, there's certain numbers that jump out at you. 15 players from the class of 2001 saw action in the Futures game in Milwaukee at the All-Star break. But the one that really grabbed me, 20 AFL alumni made an appearance at Miller Park in Milwaukee in the Major League All-Star game. That's just a phenomenal number.
That was 1/3 of the All-Star team.
That's right.
Of both teams total. I mean, again, it comes back to the organizations. They have sent their best players here at one time in the process, and we're now, the numbers just keep increasing to the point that, you know, if you're on target and on track here and play here, you're got a pretty good shot at getting a chance at the next level.
I know one of the nice things during the Fall League season is this year's inductee into the Arizona Fall League Hall of Fame, and that choice is probably getting a little more difficult every year because there are so many guys that are lining up to having just great career Hall of Fame, Cooperstown Hall of Fame careers. So I know that decision is probably going to get tougher and tougher on you in terms of who gets in each year.
Yeah, it's you know, we started last year, and you know, our inaugural class was Dusty Baker, Mike Piazza, Nomar Garcia-Parra, and Derek Jeter. And I don't think there's a GM out there that wouldn't take that package on their club right now. And those, yeah, exactly. I'm saying Dusty will take them right now. And you know, so those were our foundational inductees. And then this year, you know, Jason Giambi went in this year, and then this coming Saturday we're going to put Jerry Manuel in. And there are so many guys. I mean, you know, like Todd, you know, Helton, Sean Green, and
Alfonso Soriano of the Yankees,
Soriano, and
Derek Lowe of the Boston Red Sox.
Darren Erstad, you know, the kind of years that they're having. I mean, you know, it's a nice problem. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, those are the kind of guys that are on the, you know, on the on-deck circle. And man, oh man. And last year, you know, we did a team of the decade, and actually we had Roland Heeman announce that, and at the end of it, you know, it was like, Roland, would you take that team? And he said, I'd take it in a heartbeat. And there's just a who's who.
Well, Adams made Scottsdale look pretty silly here in this half inning of the seventh anyways. 3 up, 3 down, including 2 strikeouts of Figgins and James. And Steve, we appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us here and talking to us a little bit. You know what? Besides the players that have come through here, too, the managers haven't been too shabby. Coaches and managers have gone on to some success at the Major League level.
We've had 14 former Fall League managers become a Major League manager, and that number may go up a little bit more depending on, you know, once these jobs are filled. But that's, you know, a common thread through all this. You know, we've been talking, you know, about the player development, but there's managers, coaches. We have 24 Major League umpires that were trained here in the Fall League before they went up. So that's the common thread, and that's what this league's about, and it is an investment in our product. And we're just very happy that MLB Radio is a part of this.
Thank you very much. Steve, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
We look forward to talking to you the next couple of days, next couple of weeks, as a matter of fact. You're listening to Arizona Fall League coverage live on Major League Baseball Radio.
I'm Derek Jeter. When I was growing up, my parents and I would go to the schoolyard every weekend and play ball. They teach me how if I practiced and didn't give up, my swing could get better. But if I got in front of the ball and wasn't afraid, I could stop it. But there weren't any shortcuts to becoming a better player. But if I believed in myself, I could do it. Funny, all that time, I thought they were teaching me how to play baseball.
Helping your kids find a dream can help keep them off drugs. This message brought to you by Partnership for Drug-Free America. Visit us at drugfreeamerica.org.
Just to realize how important baseball is to a lot of people, and to see them come in with their kids, and you look around and you see the enthusiasm they have here, and it makes you say, well, hey, you know, baseball been here for 100 years and it's still going strong.
Relive your fondest memories of Brooks Robinson and see his Hall of Fame plaque at the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, New York. For more information, visit us on the web at baseballhalloffame.org or call 888-HALL-OF-FAME.
Welcome back to Aspen Field here at the University of Arizona as we head to the top of the 8th inning. Termel Sledge leads it off for Maryvale. Tie ball game 3-3 as we are into the 8th inning now. Sledge has a 1-0 count. He fouls one out of play to the left side. So the count evened at 1 ball and 1 strike.
As Steve Cobb mentioned, these shadows are a little tough right now. Right now, the shadow line goes directly across the middle of the infield and ends right at the back of the mound. So luckily, you're looking at a pitcher who is also in the shade, but behind him you have a bright center field batter's eye. It's tough to see.
Sledge lifts one in the air to the left side of the infield. The third baseman, Yakulis, makes the grab for out number 1. Actually, while we were talking to Steve, we had a defensive replacement as Robbie Hammock in at third base now. Hammock, normally a catcher, or at least listed as a catcher on the roster, playing third base for Kevin Youkilis.
Well, Robbie Hammock's one of the guys you got to keep an eye on because he plays all over the field, and he's really done a lot of good things in this league. He swings the bat well. He's a pretty good catcher. He's playing third base right now. I've seen him at first base. I've seen him at second base. So got to keep an eye on him. He's going to try to sneak up on you somewhere.
As Drew Henson steps up with 1 out in the 8th inning, and he takes an off-speed pitch outside for ball 1. That's an 0 for 3 today. He struck out, grounded out, and popped out. The 1-0 fastball in there, count evened up at 1 ball and 1 strike. What was that you were saying? No extra innings? 1-1. Henson lifts one in the air into shallow left field. In comes James, still coming towards the foul line, and makes the grab for out number 2. David DeJesus is in left field for James. I'm used to having the announcer right above my head.
There's a lot of things you get used to that we're not getting here today in terms of assisting the broadcasters, but
we'll make do.
We'll make do is right.
So 2 outs now, and Corey Hart, the designated hitter, steps up. Hart is 1 for 3, a base hit, a strikeout, and a ground out. And DeJesus, the left fielder, is from the Kansas City Royals organization, as Hart fouls one back and out of play. No balls and 2 strikes.
If I'm not mistaken, Corey Hart is a pretty good-looking 20-year-old player. I think he hit 24 home runs this year, and between A and Double A, and stole 27 bases. So that's a pretty impressive year for a 20-year-old.
And takes a fastball on the outside corner for called strike 3. So nothing doing for Maryvale here in their half of the 8th inning. The side retired in order. No runs, no hits, no errors, no men left on base. We're heading to the bottom of the 8th inning at a tie ball game here in Tucson. Maryvale 3, Scottsdale 3. As you're listening to the Arizona Fall League coverage live on Major League Baseball Radio.
Raven, we've got bandits at 1 o'clock. Lights on. Engaging now.
What kind of person can handle an F-16 dueling in a Mach-speed dogfight? Why, a math teacher, of course, when she's in the National Guard and Reserve. Nearly half of today's military are members of the Guard and Reserve, but they can't do it without their employer's support. If you're an employer, visit www.esgr.org and learn how to do your part. After all, their response depends on yours. A public service message from ESGR and the Ad Council.
Your grandparents came here.
The long drive, and it's a home run for Joe DiMaggio.
Your parents came here.
Here comes Roger Maris in the score, and Cepeda pulling the second with a double.
Now it's your turn.
Number 3,000 for one of the great players of all time, George Brett.
Cooperstown, New York, a tradition of excellence for 7 decades. Be a part of it. For information, call 1-888 Hall of Fame.
Bottom of the 8th inning we go of a tie ball game, 3-3. 3 runs, 9 hits, no errors for Maryvale. 3 runs, 10 hits, no errors for Scottsdale. Victor Rojas and Ed Lynch with you from the University of Arizona here at Wildcats territory. And we have a new pitcher for Maryvale, Aaron Rakers, the right-hander out of the Baltimore Orioles organization, 6'3", 205, out of Trenton, Illinois. Rakers so far this Arizona Fall League, no record, is 3.75 ERA. This will be his 13th appearance, 12 innings, 15 hits, 6 runs, 5 earned, 7 punch-outs, and 1 walk.
Southern Illinois University graduate out of Double A this past year, 5-1 with a 2.06 ERA in 36 games with 10 saves, and got some pretty good qualitative numbers and carried that over to the Fall League.
Scottsdale started the scoring off early with 2 runs in the bottom of the first inning. Maryvale answered with a run of their own in the top of the second inning. Scottsdale then put a run on in the bottom of the third, and it stayed 3-1 until the top of the fifth inning when Maryvale struck for 2 runs, thus tying this ball game up, and that's where we stand as we head to the bottom of the 8th inning. Coming up for Scottsdale, it'll be 2, 3, and 4. Nathan Haynes, Tim Olson, and Ken Harvey, unless there are some changes, and it looks as if Gookie Dawkins will be pinch hitting for Tim Olson. He awaits on deck. Nathan Haynes leads it off. He's 0 for 3 on the afternoon, including a strikeout, a flyout, and a groundout. Rakers works from the stretch. James squared the bunt, pulled it back, and takes the pitch. They call it a foul ball?
I'm not sure. They must have.
I thought he pulled it back and just went off the glove, but they're calling it a strike, 0-1. Henson way in at third base. The 0-1 from Rakers. He pulls the bat back this time. The count evened up at 1 ball and 1 strike.
Well, it's obvious these Angel center field plus runner types are here to work on their bunting. I mean, Kenny James and Nathan Haynes and Sean Figgin are trying to bunt just about every at bat, and this is the time to learn.
Yep, 2-0 lifted in the air down the left field line. Giving chase is Haynes, and that falls foul territory. Big foul territory here at the University of Arizona. That reminds you of Oakland.
This looks like a pretty good pitcher's park to me. As you said, there's a lot of foul territory. It looks like I don't see any measurements on the fence, but it looks like it's fairly fair. I see 400 in left center field, on straightaway 375 in one of the gaps. It doesn't have anything down the lines, but it looks like a pretty good pitcher's park.
The 2-1 to James, or Haynes, I should say. Fastball downstairs. 3 balls and 1 strike. Haynes, James. A lot of similar names in the Angels outfield. Future, anyways. Rakers come set, the 3-1 pitch. Fastball missing outside. And Haynes has worked a leadoff walk. Rakers didn't miss by much.
Well, we talked about this being a league for individual, but the individual accomplishments, but there does come a time, and this is one of them, where it's time to win the ball game. I mean, it's tie score. It's the bottom of the 8th inning. You're the home team. You've got a leadoff guy on who can run some. You've got a middle infielder now pinch hitting in Gookie Dawkins, and it's time to get the bunt down right here or do something to get the runner started. And Gookie's job right now is to get this runner in scoring position. So I would assume we'll see a bunt here to the right side of the infield.
Haynes will run, has 6 stolen bases on at first base. Gookie does not square to bunt, takes the fastball in there for strike 1. I think they're going to play some American League style ball, looking for that 3-run jack. Rakers come set. There goes Haynes. Fastball or curveball swung on and missed. No throw down by Jacobson. And Haynes moves into scoring position with a stolen base.
Well, they had the runner started. They needed to do something to get the runner going and get the infielders moving around. It looked like a hit and run. Gookie swung through a pitch that was in the dirt, and Jacobson was unable to field it cleanly, and you're just not going to throw out Nathan Haynes unless you do everything right.
So a base hit should score Haynes from second base. No balls and 2 strikes on Dawkins, pinch hitting for Tim Olson. The 0-2 breaking ball swung on and missed, and Dawkins goes down for the first out. And Gookie has struggled this Arizona Fall League, hasn't he?
Well, Gookie is he's one of those guys where, one night he could be the best player on the field, and then other days he'll come out and have an at-bat like he just had. So, I think it's just a matter of consistency with Gookie. He certainly has the ability, but that was not a quality at-bat in the career of Gookie Dawkins right there.
Well, Ken Harvey steps up, and much like a Barry Bonds situation, he's going to be intentionally walked. Put him on at first base and have a forced situation in the infield, try to get a double play and get out of it. Oh, and Rakers has one hop the catcher, Jacobson, on the first 2 pitches outside. So Jacobson working on his footwork behind the dish today.
It never ceases to amaze me how many pitchers have a hard time intentionally walking someone. I've seen it for the last 25 years, and I guess they have a hard time just lobbing a ball to a certain area. And as you said, Jacobson made 2 outstanding stops to prevent wild pitches on intentional walks. So, interesting.
So once this walk is issued, Scottsdale will have runners at first and second base. There goes Haynes breaking for third, and he's in there with a stolen base. On the pitch out, it was 3-0. Haynes took off for third, and he steals it. Second stolen base of the inning.
I can honestly say I have never seen that before.
I've never seen that either. Unbelievable.
Well, it was a smart play because you had a pitcher out there who was having trouble, as we said. He was bouncing the ball up there. He was not even looking at the runner. He was just concentrating on throwing to the catcher. He was making it very difficult for the catcher to get a pitch above the waist that he could throw. And sure enough, he threw a pitch that was down around his knees. He didn't look at the runner, and he stole third base. So I guess you've never seen it all in this game, Victor.
Yep, and now you've forced Maryvale to play your infield halfway at double play depth, at least the middle infielders, as you have Dane Sardina, the catcher, batting with runners at first and third and one out. Breaking ball in there for strike one. Harvey does not run very well at first base. 3-3 ball game, bottom of the eighth inning and one out. Sardina is 1 for 3, a base hit with an RBI in that first inning and 2 strikeouts. 0-1, check swing, gets away from Jacobson. Here comes Haynes, and Scottsdale takes the lead 4-3. Pass ball by Aaron Rakers, and a couple of mental mistakes by Rakers here in the eighth.
Well, there's a lot of ways to score a run, but a stolen base on an intentional walk and then a pass ball is not the most standard way to score a run, but it's a run nonetheless. And as you said, you talk about mental mistakes right there by Aaron Rakers and the catcher Jacobson, allowed the go-ahead run late in the game.
Harvey moves into scoring position at second base. 0-2 count on Sardina. 4-3, Scottsdale leads it now in the bottom of the eighth inning. The 0-2 fastball is cut on, fouled back into the screen. Rolls up the netting and into the seats. So Sardina still in the hole at 0-2. Looking ahead to Maryvale's ninth inning, John Gall, D. Haynes, and Billy Hall, 6, 7, and 8, assuming there are no pinch hitters. Rakers comes set. He'll look at Harvey and then step off. I think at this point, Rakers is probably concerned that Harvey's going to steal third. Sardina came into today's game with 22 RBIs, already has one, so he's got 23, looking to add to that total. The breaking ball from Rakers misses down and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes. And it has gotten a little bit chilly here. Sun starts to set, well, behind the stadium, too, the football stadium. Sardina, one hopper to the shortstop. Billy Hall backs up, throws a one hopper to the first baseman, John Gall. And Sardina is called out for the second out of the inning. Actually, we have a new first baseman for Maryvale. Scott Hodges replaces John Gall. Hodges out of the Montreal Expos organization. And pinch hitting now for Scottsdale is Scott Harrison. And he's a guy that you were talking about before we came on the air. Just a phenomenal talent.
Well, he's just one of the better-looking young hitters in this league. And, you know, anytime you come in with a career batting average of 347, you're doing something right. And he's certainly shown it's no fluke.
Scott Harrison, right-handed batter, out of the Arizona Diamondbacks organization, brother of Baltimore Orioles infielder Jerry Harrison. Has an 0-1 count against Aaron Rakers with 2 outs in the bottom of the eighth inning. Rakers comes set, the 0-1. Breaking ball swung on and missed. And Harrison in the hole at 0-2. Harrison so far this year hitting .263, does have 3 home runs, 7 RBIs. You consider him more of a line drive, gap-to-gap kind of guy?
Sure. And, you know, what you're looking at, you know, the statistics obviously are important as you get higher in the chain, but you really look at a hitter's approach. Does he stay back well? Does he cover the plate? Does he have bat speed? When he gets a fastball in the strike zone, does he center the fastball? Meaning, does he get the bat on the ball? Is he He's not topping it or popping it up. He's centering the fastball on the bat, and he does all those things.
The 1-2 breaking ball is fouled back into the screen behind the dish, and the count remains 1 ball and 2 strikes. Nathan Haynes started it off for Scottsdale here in the bottom of the 8th inning, drawing a leadoff walk, stole second base. Tim Olson then struck out, and as they were intentionally walking Ken Harvey, Nathan Haynes stole third base, and then he came in to score on the pass ball. So Scottsdale leads it 4-3. 1-2 downstairs, count even to 2 balls and 2 strikes now. Scottsdale looking to pick up its 24th victory in this 2002 season. Maryvale just picked up its 10th win on Saturday. Rakers comes set, the 2-2 curveball, catches the inside corner, and Hairston goes down looking for the third out. But Scottsdale gets the run it needs, 1 run on no hits. 1 man left on base. We're heading to the top of the 9th inning. It's Scottsdale 4, Maryvale 3, as you're listening to Arizona Fall League coverage live on Major League Baseball Radio.
My son had a problem. He was bored at his public school. So I helped change it into a new kind of school. One with the curriculum that really motivates kids. A school that has extended hours, 6 days a week year-round, filled with loads of academic, cultural, and recreational activities. One with medical, dental, and eye care right there, where parents are encouraged to be involved at all levels, as early as possible. A school where teachers have more time to teach, and students are excited about learning. But now there's another problem. He's having so much fun, he doesn't want to leave school. You can turn your public school into a community school for excellence. Find out how. Call 1-877-LOVE-TO-LEARN and get the information you need to get started.
A message from the Children's Aid Society, the Coalition for Community Schools, and the Ad Council.
We're heading to the top of the 9th inning with Scottsdale leading it 4-3. Victor Rojas and Ed Lynch with you here on Major League Baseball Radio. And Scottsdale has turned the ball over to the right-hander, Derek Turnbow of the Anaheim Angels organization, 6'3", 200-pounder out of Union City, Tennessee. And this kid can flat out bring it. Turnbow, so far in the Arizona Fall League this year, 2-0 with a 279 earned run average. He does have a save in 12 appearances. 19 in the third innings, 21 hits, 8 runs, 6 earned. He has 17 strikeouts and 7 walks. Opposing hitters hitting .288 against him. And this is a guy that you know pretty well, seen him.
Yes, he's had an interesting past. I mean, he was originally signed by the Phillies and was selected in the Rule 5 draft in December of '99, which meant that he had to spend the entire year with the Angels in the 2000 season, or they had to send him back. He did indeed spend the entire 2000 season with the Angels, and held his own. He only pitched in 24 games, but I remember seeing him a couple times. He didn't show fear. He went out there and made it through the season. They sent him back to the minor leagues to continue his development. Pitched well for a while, suffered a freak injury, really just an injury you don't see very often. He didn't tear his elbow ligament and have Tommy John. He fractured his elbow bone, and I think he might have done it more than once and basically missed a couple of full years. And now he's back, and he's throwing very well. So it should be interesting to see how he handles from here forward.
Scott Hodges leads it off for Maryvale in the 9th inning and takes a fastball inside for ball 1. Hodges in the ball game for first baseman John Gall. Hodges hitting .282 with 2 home runs, 9 RBIs. Bats from the left side out of the Montreal Expos organization. Turnbow winds, and the right-hander delivers the 2-0. Fastball missing inside, 3 balls and no strikes. Hodges, a left-handed batter, 6 foot, 190 pounds, out of Louisville, Kentucky. 3-0 from Turnbow. Fastball upstairs, and Hodges has drawn a leadoff walk. Well, that leadoff walk came back to haunt Maryvale last half inning, as it gave the Scottsdale Scorpions the lead run in this ball game.
Well, let's see if Tommy John plays this situation a little different here with the leadoff runner on, and chance to tie this game up, I suspect that a bunt might be in order at this point.
As D. Haynes steps in to face Turnbow. Haynes, the left fielder. 2 hits already on the afternoon. Takes a fastball in there for strike 1.
I guess you're right. You have a guy that's one of your better hitters in your power position, and maybe you're thinking, hey, we're going to try to win this game right now and let him swing away. So we'll see how it works out.
Hodges with a short lead at first base. Turnbull will throw over. Almost throws it away. Harvey, nice play coming off the bag. Hodges, no stolen bases down here. Is that Joe Ferguson flashing signs in the third base box?
That looks like Joe Ferguson, former Dodger catcher.
It's weird to see him in a different uniform. Now with the Baltimore Orioles. Turnbow threw over to first base. Hodges back easily. No balls and 1 strike on D. Haynes. Turnbow comes set. The righty kicks. The 0-1 bunted up the first base line. Ken Harvey fields it, and he'll tag Haynes out easily. That moves the runner, Hodges, into scoring position on the sac bunt.
Well, I think that was a little self-defense sac bunt there. That ball came right at his head and was able to get the bat up and protect himself, but got it down, and that's the key. So D. Haynes got the bunt down and moved the runner over.
Maryvale now with a runner in scoring position as the shortstop Bill Hall steps in. And Hall has had a tough afternoon, 0 for 3, struck out twice. Olson, the shortstop, will keep Hodges honest at second base. 1 out here in the top of the 9th inning. Turnbow gets his sign. Righty kicks. First pitch fastball in there for strike 1. He can still bring it up there, Kenny.
Oh, he sure can. And it's really a testament to the medical profession in our industry. The way guys come off just, in my day, would have been career-ending injuries, come out and throwing just as well as they ever had.
Turnbow looks at Hodges, kicks the 0-1, breaking ball downstairs. Nice play by Sardina to keep that ball in front of him as the count is evened up at 1 ball and 1 strike.
Well, Derek's got to be thinking strikeout in this situation because anytime there's contact, there's a chance of ball going through and tying this game up. So unless he gets into a position where he has to throw a strike, I would see him just trying to hit the fringes of the strike zone.
1-1. Ball gets away from Sardina, goes all the way to the backstop, and Hodges will move over to third base. So now we've seen that twice in the last inning. As Hodges is 90 feet away from tying this ball game up.
Well, the one thing that these young catchers are seeing in this league is not only are they facing better pitching when they're at the bat, but they're trying to catch better pitching with better stuff. And right there, it looked like Dana Sardina was setting up in. Derek threw a ball that was Derek Turnbow threw a ball probably 96 miles an hour up and away, and just unable to make the adjustment. So it's a learning process, as we said, for everybody on the field, and the catching is no exception.
Al Pedrique, the manager of the Scottsdale Scorpions, brings his infield in as Hall swings and misses on the off-speed pitch. The count evened up at 2 balls and 2 strikes. 4-3, Scottsdale leads it. Top of the 9th inning, 1 out. Maryvale with a runner on at third base. Outfield back at normal depth. Turnbow opting to work from the stretch. The right-hander gets his sign, comes set. The 2-2, fastball upstairs. 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Well, here's where Derek looks down. Derek Turnbow looks in the on-deck circle, sees Jacobson, the catcher, who does not run that well in the on-deck circle. He might be thinking set up a double play situation, but there might be somebody in that dugout ready to hit who can run pretty good. It's going to be hard to double up.
The payoff pitch, breaking ball in the dirt. Nice job by Sardina. That's a dangerous pitch right there as Billy Hall is on board with a walk. So Maryvale now with runners at the corners, first and third base, and it'll be Russ Jacobson. As Larry Carter, the pitching coach for Scottsdale, is going to come out. Slow little walk. Hands behind his back. Saying, come on, let's get this thing over with.
Well, you got to tip your hat to the coaches in this league because right way to go and the right way to play the game and the right way to go about swinging the bat or throwing a baseball. But when you're dealing with other people's players, it's a little testy. You have to make sure you check with an organization. Obviously, you're not going to, if you're a coach with the Kansas City Royals, you're not going to go out and change the delivery of someone from the Anaheim Angels. So communication is very important between these coaches and their minor league directors and their instructors. And I know these guys do a good job of that, and they handle the players very well.
I was just going to ask you that as you were talking. Is it these coaches are somewhat handcuffed, aren't they?
Yeah, they are to a certain extent. But the one thing about our industry is basically everybody knows everybody. So there's nothing from preventing Larry Carter to pick up the phone and call Gary Sutherland or Ken Forsch of the Angels and talk about Derek Turnbow a little bit.
Jacobson swings or foul tips. First pitch from Turnbow into the glove of Sardina. 0-1 the count. Jacobson so far this afternoon 2 for 2, including a walk. He has a run scored. And the only reason I asked about the coaches was every organization has a that quote unquote philosophy. You don't want to overstep anyone's boundaries.
Oh, absolutely. And you don't want to change people. They've got their program from their instructors. You don't want to change anything if you can help it.
The 0-1 missing outside. The count evened up at 1 ball, 1 strike. So Scottsdale looking for the ground ball double play. Hall does run fairly well at first base. As you mentioned, Jacobson, the catcher, does not run that well.
As good as Dana Sardina throws behind the plate for Scottsdale, I'd be surprised if Billy Hall is running to stay out of the double play, but I've seen stranger things.
Turnbow comes set, the 1-1. Fastball swung on and missed. 1 ball and 2 strikes. And if you're Maryvale here, if you're not going to get a base hit, what you want is a strikeout by Jacobson. So at least you have an opportunity. I mean, if you're not able to score the run.
Absolutely.
As Fontenot awaits on deck. I saw the Orioles organization automatically assume Harrison. There goes Hall. The 1-2 is called strike 3. The throw down by Sardina is in time, and this ball game is over. You called it, Ed. What a throw and a terrible slide by Billy Hall. But Sardina guns down the unusual strike him out, throw him out, double play to end the ball game. As Scottsdale picks up the victory 4-3, defeating Maryvale down here in Tucson. What a ball game.
That was a very good game, a well-played game, good pitching, good hitting, pretty good defense. So all in all, it was a very good game. They executed at the end when they need to on a very difficult, as you said, Victor, that strike them out, throw them out. A lot of things can go wrong when you have that tying run at third base 90 feet away, but they executed perfectly, and ball game is over.
Yep, absolutely. 3 runs, 9 hits, no errors for Maryvale. 4 runs, 10 hits, no errors for Scottsdale. Scottsdale now moves to 24-11 during this 2002 Arizona Fall League. Maryvale drops to 10-24. Tomorrow we'll be back at it once again at 4 o'clock Eastern Time as we are live from Tucson, Grand Canyon versus Mesa, as we continue our coverage of the 2002 Arizona Fall League right here on Major League Baseball. For our engineer, Dan Gentili, I'm Victor Rojas. Thanks to Ed Lynch for joining us. He'll be here tomorrow and Wednesday. If you have any emails for us, feel free to send them in to radio@mlb.com. Thanks for joining us.